It's Bo time.
The Ram Black Friday sales event is going on now, with great deals on a wide selection of powerful and dependable Ram trucks. Now finance and get $7,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Go to ram.com and hurry to your local Ram dealer for this Black Friday offer. $7,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Stellantis Financial. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 12/2/24.
Whether it's the future of college football or my love for the Ryder Cup, it's all found in the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, brought to you by Coach Pete at Capital Financial Advisory Group. Visit us at capitalfinancialusa.com.
You okay?
Sorry, I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner, looking at partly cloudy skies for the remainder of the day today with a high of 79. So we continue to see well above normal temperatures. It will be a warm night as well, with temperatures in the mid-60s, and warm again tomorrow. Partly cloudy with a high of 77.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 43 points today to 43,773. Market update brought to you by the Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to the Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities. This hour of the drive brought to you by Zero Res. This holiday season, Zero Res is hosting a food drive. When you get 3 rooms cleaned and donate non-perishable food, they'll clean a 4th room for free. Visit ZeroResRaleigh.com. Again, ZeroResRaleigh.com.
Hand off Chuba Hubbard, straight up the middle, big hole. He's got the 20, 15, 10, 5, goodbye, touchdown, Chuba Hubbard. Chuba sweeps around the left side, has an angle, and cuts it in for a touchdown. Give to Chuba. Groundhogs forward into the end zone. Touchdown Carolina, and the Panthers go back on top. Give it to Chuba. Chuba inside the 10, 5, slides into the end zone. Touchdown Panthers. He spikes the ball, and Carolina's got a lead.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Good day to you all. It's a Thursday. We're going to be breaking everything down as we get closer and closer to the weekend. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox, here along with us producing the show. It is a good day for all of us. It is a great day for Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard, running back, Carolina Panthers, 4 years, $33.2 million. Contract extension. Feel like we should say that with like our pinky to the mouth, like Dr. Evil. $33.2 million. $15 million in new, fully guaranteed money for Chuba Hubbard. The first thing I want to say is congratulations to Chuba. Way to go. Get your money. I'm never against anybody getting their cash. If you can find someone that will pay you that amount, I commend you. We all wish. We commend you. However, the Panthers have spent even more money and resources on running backs. There's a movement happening in the NFL where teams are, for the most part, spending less, expending less resources on running backs, and the Panthers must think they're smarter than everybody because they keep on doing it. Let's look at the timeline. You pay Miles Sanders $25 million. This was a couple years ago. Then you bench him for Chuba Hubbard, who was a younger, cheaper option. You watched Chuba Hubbard play really, really well. Then this past offseason, you draft a running back in Jonathan Brooks, who had torn his ACL. You drafted him in the second round, despite Hubbard playing very, very well. Then you continued watching Hubbard play very, very well. You wait for that ACL-torn running back, Jonathan Brooks, to return. And yet before you see that ACL-torn running back, Jonathan Brooks, play in the NFL, you pay Chuba Hubbard $33 million over 4 years and an extension. That's setting you up for the exact same situation, potentially. What if Jonathan Brooks comes out and he's just better than Chuba Hubbard? What if you drafted a guy in the second round because he was really, really good, and now you want him to be your featured back, but you're paying featured back money to a guy who was better than the last older, more expensive running back you paid? If you wanted to build around Chuba Hubbard, that's cool. I like Chuba Hubbard. I'm a big fan of Chuba Hubbard. I've been singing the praises of Chuba Hubbard. I've bet multiple times this year on the overs, player props on Chuba Hubbard. I like Chuba Hubbard, the running back. If you want to build around him, cool. Don't draft Jonathan Brooks. That's once you draft Jonathan Brooks, it becomes much more difficult to justify spending more money and resources on the running back position. And I get the wants. I get the greed, I guess. I get the vision. You watch what the Lions are doing with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and you might say, that's what I want. Dan Morgan, we've talked about how Dan Morgan is a big fan, or it seems like he's a big fan, of trying to build the Panthers in the image of the best Panther teams that Dan Morgan played for in the early 2000s as a linebacker on this squad that made it all the way to a Super Bowl. Right? And those teams are well known for Jonathan Stewart, D'Angelo Williams, two-headed beast in the backfield.
Steven Davis, Deshaun Foster, even before that.
Yeah, right. Yep, exactly. Right before. I get the desire to have that, but that's a bit like saying I really, really, really like the cherries, so I'm going to get the cherries and pay whatever it takes to get the cherries to put on top of a sundae when you have no ice cream, no sprinkles, no. The thing about the Lions is by the time Jahmyr Gibbs was drafted, they already had their quarterback, their stud wide receiver, a bunch of their offensive line, some really good guys on defense. They already had so much. And if you look at the Panthers, when we're talking about Jonathan Stewart, D'Angelo Williams, by the time either of them showed up, they had Jake Delhomme, they had Steve Smith, they had Julius Peppers, they had Thomas Davis, they had Dan Morgan, we brought up, Mike Rucker, Jordan Gross, Chris Gamble, Mike Minter. They had all of those guys as the core already. I don't say this to disparage running backs, but they're easier to find. Especially, I might even say they're easy to find if you are willing to spend and draft like the Panthers have. It's hard to find edge rushers. It's hard to find offensive linemen, particularly franchise tackles. It's hard to find corners. It's hard to find quite a few positions. They're just more difficult to identify and to acquire. Go take care of those. And then if you're willing to draft a running back in the first or second round, you can get a good one. If you're willing to spend $30+ million, $15 million guaranteed on a running back, you can find a good one. I promise you can find a good one. Maybe two. Maybe if you want the stable, you can find a stable if you're willing to spend those resources. Which is why I sit here and I say I really like Chuba Hubbard. And guess what? As a prospect, I really like Jonathan Brooks. You're not going to find me disparaging those players. But I would expect them to be good. You just spent $30-something million on them, and you just spent a second-round pick on them. Some of the best, actually, I think you could argue the best. Let's talk about who are the best running backs in the league this year. Probably Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, both available as free agents this past offseason.
Very, very expensive ones.
But, not a ton. What is it, a $37 million total value, granted one less year for Saquon. And Derrick Henry is looking at $8 million a year. 4 years, $33 million is what you got Chuba for. 2 years, $8 million, or $8 million apiece. So 2 years, $16 million is what you get Derrick Henry for. How many positions across the league do you see the best at that position available in free agency? Matter of fact, I need to double-check something here because I just saw something pop up in my notes that may make this an even more dramatic point to make. We look at the rushing leaders. Heck, we can take this even further. Who are the top 3 in rushing yards this season? Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, and Josh Jacobs. All available as free agents this past offseason. It is a position that you can get everything else in play, and then if you're willing to spend, you can go find. You have to have everything else taken care of because this is the easy one. I can find those. It's a big expenditure from the Panthers. It's good players. It's good players. It's a really difficult place to kind of talk about the signing because I like Chuba and I like as a prospect Jonathan Brooks. I think they're good running backs. It's just the nature of the position. And the rest of the league seems to have figured that out. Right? The Ravens had everything in place. Their quarterback, they drafted Zay Flowers. They had their offensive line put together. They have maybe the best tight end room in the league. Their defense was playing lights out. So what did they then do? Go spend some money on a running back to complete it. Eagles, probably similar thought process. They have their quarterbacks making $50 million a year. They have maybe the best wide receiver room in the league with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They have a stud tight end in Goddard. Their offensive line put together. So then what did they do? They finally went and completed the puzzle with the running back. The Panthers don't have their quarterback, hope to have their receivers, but they're half a season in. Hope to have their tight end, but he's half a season in. Offensive line, pretty good. I'll give him that. I wouldn't say it's a done deal. It's a completed process, but pretty good. And they've already gone and gotten their running backs. Chuba Hubbard's, 25 years old?
Yeah, 25. He's 25 now.
If it takes you 3 years to put the rest of the roster together, which is not outlandish, he'll be over what is considered the cliff of running backs between 27 and 28 years old. It's again, everyone else in the league figured it out, and I'm not sure I trust the Panthers to be the smartest in the room, zagging when everyone else zigs.
Well, I know Dan Morgan's statement had this sentence that stood out to me, talking about Chuba Hubbard. He exemplifies everything we want on and off the field. If you're trying to build a new culture in your locker room, this is the guy that you need to have in it. This is the guy you need to have in it because everything this guy has done, being a dog, being productive, not complaining in the locker room, everything that you want in the culture you're trying to build, he exemplifies. So, yeah, I want to keep this guy around. And it's only $15 million guaranteed over the next 2 years. You can move on from the contract easily over the next 2 years if you want to. But if he continues to be productive, guess what? You still have him for another 1 or 2 years after that, so you choose. To me, that's the reason why I like this. You're rewarding the guys who are doing everything that you as an organization want to have.
I hear the sending a message with a $15 million guaranteed, $33 million contract. I think there's better ways to send that message. I think there's easier ways to send that message. I think there's an onus that falls on the coaches. If you want to set a culture, don't use $33 million to do it. Set it with how you coach the team.
That's part of it. But this guy's doing it. This guy, what does it say to the rest of your team? Like, hey, this guy's doing everything you're asking to do. What we want is right here. Buy?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Not even buy. It's if you want to be here on a deal that helps us win, if you want to be here on a cheaper contract, sure. If you want the highest bidder, highest bidder is the culture you want to set. You need to get to the above market value to stay.
But here's the thing. I'm sure another team probably could have given him something similar to that. But the fact that Chuba wants to stay here tells me something.
I want to stay anywhere they give me $33 million.
Well, sure. But he probably could have gotten even more than $15 million guaranteed on the open market, depending on how the rest of the season figured out. But he wants to stay. That's important to me.
I mean, Josh Jacobs didn't get $15 million guaranteed in the open market.
Okay.
Josh Jacobs is a much more accomplished and high pedigree running back. Did it for more than half a season as a bell cow. Derrick Henry didn't get he got $9 million guaranteed on the open market. It's an overpay for a position that the market is dwindling.
I like you're keeping your good players. This is something that this team has not done over the last few years, keeping your good players. We've seen the Panthers let too many good players go, whether they let them walk or they traded them away.
I mean, in that case, you can't draft Jonathan Brooks. Was he not the hardest worker in the room last year?
Who, Chuba?
Yeah.
Well, Chuba last year was the number 2 running back.
But if you're bringing him for off-the-field stuff, why wouldn't you build around him last year? Why would you draft his replacement if he's off the field so valuable?
Well, because you had Miles Sanders last year. That's the reason why he didn't get – what's that?
You still have Miles Sanders.
And you still do it, and he'll be gone after this season.
Which is another issue because he's going to be counting $3 million against the cap next year as well, even if you cut him. It's a salary cap sport. You can't just keep throwing money away and saying it's only 15, it's only 3, it's only a second-round pick. Every dollar you spend on a running back is a dollar you don't spend elsewhere.
They're going to have plenty of money to spend. There's other ways you can make. There's other ways you can create that.
Create the money to pick up an elite corner or an elite edge rusher? You're just going to create that?
Well, I'm sorry. You can draft an edge rusher. You're going to have a top 10 pick this coming year. You can draft an edge rusher.
It's just much more difficult. You can draft, you can draft a running back later.
I understand that, but I love the fact that they are keeping good players.
He is a good player. You're not going to hear me argue that. He's just playing the wrong position. I wish Chuba, with all of his excellent morals and values and hard work, learned to backpedal when he was 18 years old and played corner instead of running back. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Window Nation. Window Nation, as I said, I haven't even been outside really today since I got here, but it seems like every time I step outside this past week, it's a completely different environment outside. I come in wearing a jacket. I walk out, I need a tank top. But what that does is it shows why your windows are so important, right? If you're heating and cooling your house, sometimes different times at the same day, you want that air to stay inside. And not only that, right? You want it to be safe for small children. I have a toddler running around. You want to make sure everything's installed correctly so if somebody bumps into or leans into that window, you're not having any safety catastrophes. And Window Nation, I mean, that's what they do. They double and triple and quadruple check it. I don't even know what the word is for this. When it's a 50-point inspection, if you go checking something once is a double check, checking something twice is a double check, 3 times is a triple check. What is 50? What is a 50-point 50 check on every window before it leaves the factory? 20-point installation inspection on every window. Not only do they use the best materials that keep the air inside your house, that you heat and cool inside your house to save your energy bill, but the safety of it is also something I'm always looking for. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free, plus pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years. Which is a pretty sweet deal. And you get a free no-obligation consultation and presentation right there in your house. It's easy. Call 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION. Or visit windownation.com to schedule. That's windownation.com right now to schedule your presentation. Thesis statement is coming up next. There's something new that is worth everything in college sports, and it's coming up next.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Natchez heads up. Back to Orlov. He scores! A 1-2 punch from Dmitry Orlov. It's 3-2 on Orlov, second of the game.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Back to Slavin. He shot right on. Rebounds out in front. Chance on front. They score! Here come the Hats!
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes. 99.9 The Fan.
Is your plumbing outdated or just not getting the job done? Call Newcomb & Company to see how we can help get your home operating at peak performance. Our experienced plumbers can repair or replace faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Become a Comfort Contract customer to receive priority service and a 15% discount on service calls and repairs. Turn to the experts today. Call 919-862-3000 or find us at newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company. Your comfort is our business.
Morning people wake up for peace and quiet. McDonald's breakfast people, we wake up for the sweet rush of getting that warm, delicious breakfast right before it ends.
Enjoy a savory sausage McMuffin with a fluffy egg for only $2.50. Be a McDonald's breakfast person. Get the most important deal of the day right after you wake up. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You okay?
Sorry, I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable.
What if you could be debt-free by this January? Get rid of all that high-interest debt, pay off all your credit cards, consolidate everything into one lower payment? Hey, it's Dennis Cox. If you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low fives, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis or their express equity line of credit. So call now. Get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today and you won't make a house payment till 2025. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com, free rate quote now, 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. For those of you looking forward to the thesis statement, since that's what I told you was coming up next on the show, my bad. I scrolled too far down in our rundown. So the thesis statement will be up in about 10 minutes is when we're going to be doing that. So it's you don't have to wait that long. Right now, though, we can't pass up talking about the biggest college basketball game of the first week and change. Number 9 in the entire country, the University of North Carolina Tar Heels at the number 1 ranked Kansas Jayhawks. Tomorrow night, Friday night action. This is, I don't know if it was set up this way, if UNC had the forethought to be here, but they're going to test their biggest weakness with the hardest, most difficult possible test for that weakness in the second game of the year. We've been talking about it. We're not unique in talking about it, but anyone that covers the Tar Heel basketball team, concern is post play on the perimeter. I mean, it starts with R.J. Davis, but then you got guys that can run and shoot and play make with anyone in the country out there on the perimeter, and freshman 5 stars that are going to be adding to that. Whether they are a legit national title contender or not will come down to how well their big guys can battle with elite big men around the country in those top-tier games. I'm not worried about it against a middle-of-the-road conference team. I'm not worried about it against anyone that's maybe bottom half or bottom third of the top 25. It's when you get into the true elite teams, if they've got their stud post player, how in the heck is UNC going to deal with that? Well, in the second game of the year, tomorrow night, they face the best returning big man in the country in Hunter Dickinson. Kansas is ranked number 1 in the country, so they're number 1 as a team. But Hunter Dickinson is preseason All-American on just about every list. He has postseason All-American honors in his past. He has stats to back it up. And he is listed at 7 feet 2 inches tall and 265 pounds. The biggest player on UNC is Jalen Washington, and he is listed as 4 inches shorter and 30 pounds lighter than Hunter Dickinson. You may say,
and I think about 9 years is younger.
Well played. He was also born when Hunter Dickinson was learning to ride a bike, which is only kind of a joke. It is a joke, though. Jalen, and that's the biggest player. Jalen Washington isn't the only one that's going to be asked to guard Hunter Dickinson at different times. It will be Jalen Withers. It might be Van Allen Lubin. There's other guys that are smaller in stature that will be asked to guard Hunter Dickinson. Now, that's not like guaranteed a huge problem, right? We've lived in modern basketball enough to see the Draymond Greens of the world guard guys that are 6, 7, 8 inches taller than him with pure will and fiery attitude. Like we know that guys can guard above their size. We just don't really know if UNC has those guys. UNC in their opener against Elon, right? I mentioned Kansas is their second game of the year. In their opener against Elon, they did win the rebounding battle against Elon, which you would expect. You would have expected the difference to be greater than 43 rebounds to 40 rebounds. Right, if you're North Carolina and you recruit at a North Carolina level and you're playing Elon who recruits at an Elon level, you probably want to win the rebounding battle by more than 3. And by the way, that was a close game. It's not like, UNC was making all their shots, so who cares? No, Elon was leading with 6.5 minutes to play in the game. UNC won by 3. You put together that same rebounding effort, you might lose by 25 against a team like Kansas with their size, and again, headlined by Hunter Dickinson. So I don't know if it was intentional, but either way, we're going to find out about North Carolina's big men tomorrow. And it's not like the NBA where, hey, this big thing we were worried about, turns out it's going to be a big problem. Let's go trade 9 first-round picks for a big off the whatever team stinks now. Let's go get the Cavs. Cavs don't stink anymore. That's Detroit. Let's go get Detroit's best rebounder. How many late firsts and lottery protected firsts will it take to get the best rebounder off Detroit? UNC can't do that. They can't say like, oh gosh, we just got smoked by Hunter Dickinson. Let's go take the best player off of Boston College, or let's go get Raynaud from Stanford. Can't do that. Raynaud's a 7-footer from Stanford. So I'm excited to learn about UNC basketball tomorrow night. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Now I can make good on my tease from earlier. Coming up next, we have the Thesis statement, which stays around college sports, and a new currency, or at least new importance in college sports. Next.
Keep pounding. Panther Talk. Panthers Playbook. The Paw Print. Follow your Carolina Panthers all season with us.
Snap. Give it to Chuba. Chuba inside the 10. Slides into the end zone. Touchdown Panthers. He spikes the ball, and Carolina's got a lead.
Your home for complete Carolina Panthers coverage. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
It's Tim Donnelly for Window Nation. Right now, save 50% off all window styles, plus 0 interest for 5 years. Hurry, sale ends November 30th, so schedule an in-home estimate at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately. Nope, sticking to our go-to places. You mean like Sharky's? Well, we love our Sharky's. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime, and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3. You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
Come to Atlantic Spas and Billiards this fall to elevate your leisure experience. We have a huge selection of Finleo saunas, hot tubs from Hot Spring and Caldera, and endless pool swim spas. No room for a game table inside? We have outdoor pool tables, shuffleboard, table tennis, and everything you can imagine. We have over a 15,000 square foot showroom with a great grill department and a water testing department for your hot tub needs. Atlantic Spas and Billiards has great pricing for the holiday shopping experience. Order now for holiday delivery. Glenwood Avenue, Raleigh, Market Street, Wilmington, AtlanticSBNC.com.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Shop early, save big, all month long during Black Friday build-up at Lowe's. Right now, get select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees starting at just $59.98. Don't wait to save. Shop these deals today, in-store or online, because Lowe's knows deals. Discount taken at time of purchase while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Train heating and cooling systems are engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. It's hard to stop a train.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. You want a fun fact? I was big into fun facts today. You want a fun fact?
Sure.
Bruno Mars wrote this song.
Yeah.
Fun fact. You want another fun fact? Chuba Hubbard got his big contract this year.
Mm-hmm.
He is the greatest Canadian-born running back of all time.
Facts.
Chase Brown, chasing though. See what I did there? Plays tonight for the Bengals. Has had a couple big weeks, but not quite there on Chuba's level yet. Unintentional. No pun intended. Another fun fact, we have 2 4-packs of tickets to see TNA Wrestling at the Crown Coliseum in Fayetteville. TNA will be taping their show, Impact, on Friday and Saturday at 6:30, and we have a 4-pack of tickets for you. 4-pack, that's nice. Don't confuse that with a pair. It's twice that.
Yep.
See North Carolina's own Matt and Jeff Hardy, Joe Hendry, Nick, is that Namath? There we go. And more. You can choose which night you want to go, Friday or Saturday. They are physical tickets. Oh, this is the part, little important sidebar you need to remember. These are physical tickets, so we won't be emailing them to you. You have to be able to come to the station to pick them up. And I know it's Thursday, and obviously Friday's tomorrow, Saturday the next. So you have to be able to schedule that in, a trip out to the station. But you can get a 4-pack if you are one of the first 2 callers. Does that mean we're giving away 2 4-packs?
2 4-packs.
First two callers both win a 4-pack to see the TNA wrestling. Jeff and Matt Hardy were here in studio yesterday. They appeared ready to put on a bananas show.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to be there for it, go ahead and give us a call right now, 919-860-5FAN. That's 919-860-5326 if you want to win the 4-pack of tickets to see TNA wrestling in Fayetteville Friday or Saturday.
By the way, pro wrestling live in person is a blast. It really is a fun time.
All right. Is it like, are you saying kind of hockey status where in person so much better than on TV? Or is it okay?
Yeah.
There you go. It's kind of the stereotype about hockey, but if it's pro wrestling as well, you can find out. All you need to do is call in right now, 919-860-5326. First two callers get a 4-pack of tickets. And you can catch that interview with Jeff and Matt Hardy on our YouTube page. There's a whole bunch of content from those guys from all kind of our Capital Broadcasting outlets. WRAL, Next Up, which is a show earlier every weekday here on 99.9 The Fan. Jeff and Matt Hardy were all over the place yesterday. Now let's jump into what we call brand new segment this week, the Thesis Statement. School is in session. The Thesis Statement obviously playing on a little bit of a theme of school, class, college. Oh, college sports. It is the portion of the day where I make a thesis statement. I make a take. It has to be involving college sports, the sports that we cover, the universities that we cover, and then I do my best to defend my thesis statement. Today's thesis statement is the new currency, the new sense of worth in college sports is players' quality of life. That is the most important thing for your team, for your program, for your school's athletic program. It is how are you creating a very, very high quality of life for the players on your team, for the student athletes in your athletics program. Right? For a while there, it was facilities, right? Everybody it was keeping up with the Joneses in facilities. For a while, it was pure NIL contracts. For a while, it was academics. You go back through history, winning. We should include winning. If you go back through the history of college sports at different points in time, the thing that you built your program off of rotated. Right now, it is, for lack of a better term, happiness of your student athletes. All this sparked, this take here, this thesis statement, was sparked by C.J. Bailey, the quarterback of NC State. Every single time I see another national evaluator, right, PFF, the 33rd team, these analytics conglomerates, every time I see one say C.J. Bailey, quarterback at NC State, is the best freshman quarterback in the country this year, unfortunately, based on the way college football works right now, my first thought goes to everyone in the country sees this, and a whole bunch of teams are going to be interested in getting him into the transfer portal. And NC State is going to have to re-recruit him and win again in the recruiting battle in order to keep C.J. Bailey on campus because he has increased his value a bunch. And then you start, sometimes the thought ends there. Sometimes I'm then distracted. Let's watch basketball. Sometimes you linger. And you start to go to, well, he played at a powerhouse Florida high school with Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith is the number 1 wide receiver for Ohio State, or number 2, depending on how you like Igbuka. He's a stud wide receiver for Ohio State. Ohio State's Will Howard, upperclassman veteran, not going to be around next year. That's the quarterback. If Ohio State wants to repair one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in the freshman ranks across all of college football with the best true freshman quarterback across all of college football. They were high school teammates. If they want to repair them, NC State can't win that bidding war. Ohio State spent $20 million in NIL money last offseason. You're not going to outbid them. So how does NC State keep him? And that's where quality of life comes into play. That's where how much value you bring to your players outside of cash comes into play. Because I remember at ACC kickoff, I know State and UNC don't like necessarily being compared, but I remember at ACC kickoff, right, the media event that kicks off the college football season, Mac Brown, the head coach of UNC, was so darn proud that Omarion Hampton turned down what Mac Brown called 4 times the money to go elsewhere to stay at UNC. They didn't win the bidding war. Somebody else provided more money. Omarion Hampton stayed anyway. Same thing for UNC basketball player RJ Davis. He could hit the transfer portal and gone anywhere he wanted. Could have gone pro. Could have been making whoever knows how much money. If it's not in the NBA, definitely overseas. But he's back at UNC. Why? Must enjoy it, right? Must like it. Must see value in being there. The new currency is quality of life. It's happiness. College sports, this is the way I describe the transfer portal. It took away non-compete clauses. All right, if your business has a non-compete clause, you sign on with your employer. Sometimes it says, I'll pick roofing. I don't know why I picked that industry, roofing. It might say you can't work for another roofer within 50 miles of our headquarters. All right, so if you want to stay living where you're living, you're kind of handcuffed to your employer, right? Because if you leave that job and your expertise is in roofing, you'd have to go 50 miles away every day to commute in order to do what you love to do. Well, guess what? If you take away that non-compete, now your current employer doesn't have that to lean on. Better take care of you, right? Better pay you fairly. Better teach you. Better give you room for upward mobility. Better not work you too hard. Better listen to your complaints and try to alleviate some of them because they have nothing handcuffing you to the business. That's what college sports are in now. You have to make people choose your company every single time. We saw athletes this past offseason transfer from Duke to NC State. We saw players go from NC State to other teams in the Triangle. Right? They could stay in their same off-campus apartment if they wanted to. Be a little bit of a commute, but you hear what I'm saying. So there's 2 kind of ways to go about it. One is you could be the big chip stacks at the table. You could be Ohio State, and you could try to zoom in over everyone, put a Godfather offer in front of their face and say, come here or don't. Or you can make it fun. You can make it valuable. You can improve the quality of overall life. Winning is fun. Getting better and improving is valuable. Making you more of an NFL prospect is valuable. Surrounding yourself with people you like is worthwhile. Players only get 4 or 5 years of college sports. I know COVID made it seem like they got more for a while. Barring major injuries, players are only going to get 4 or 5 years of college sports. They want to maximize their earnings, and you darn sure don't want to be miserable. So if you want to keep C.J. Bailey, make sure he's getting better. Make sure you have a plan for his development that he believes in. If you want to keep C.J. Bailey, make sure he enjoys the people he works with every day. If you're a coach that isn't fun to be around, players aren't going to want to be around. But if you're a coach that's awesome to be around, makes it fun for the starters and the backups, has everybody getting better, everybody seeing value, they're going to want to stay. And the same is true for basketball, right? Duke has, 10, 11 guys that are probably hoping or expecting to play big minutes this year for a national title contender. I bet by the end of the year, 7. You want to keep those 4 other guys? Those 3 or 4 other guys, you want to keep them back for next year? They better find value in something other than on-court minutes, getting better, having fun, which is crazy because, right, you need to have fun. Sounds a lot like what you tell 9-year-olds when you're getting ready to go out there and play coach pitch baseball. But it's true. They have to choose you each and every year. And if you don't have the money, you better find some other reason that they're going to choose you. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the Thesis statement about the changing of college sports moving forward. Let's talk about one of those teams, UNC football. Another bye. I don't know when this started. At the start, I guess they start the season a little bit earlier, but they got an extra game. Used to be you get 1 bye in a college football season.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Now 2 byes. 3 weeks ago, the UNC got a week off. Now this week they get another weekend off. You go home and it's like parents are gonna be tired of seeing you. Like, weren't you just here? Like
go
back
out of
to
here.
school. What? Eat me out of house and home.
Can't do your own laundry?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, some of us brought laundry everywhere we went when we were in college. Grandma's house did a lot of laundry for me. UNC. We've been asking this question on bye weeks. UNC is the first one we get to ask it twice. What should they do on their bye week? And it's not the exact same answer, right? It's not, hey, do the same thing you did a couple weeks ago, because it's not the same situation. Somehow, in the same football season, UNC might have the most necessary, the most absolutely needed last possible minute bye, and the absolute worst timed bye. The one 3 weeks ago, they were on a 4-game losing streak. They had the tragedy of losing one of their teammates to a terminal illness. I don't know if I've ever seen a team more in need of a break. And they got a break, and they reset the engines, and they shut down the engines for a couple of days, I assume. Came back with a refined focus on their identity, which I believe is Omarion Hampton on offense. Omarion Hampton on offense, and a renewed energy top to bottom on the roster. I don't know if you want a renewed energy top to bottom on the roster coming out of this bye that they're having right now. Matter of fact, I think you want the opposite. You want the exact same energy you had going into the bye. Don't change this time. Last time, change everything. This time, don't change. Dig in further. I want more Omarion Hampton. I want more efficiency in the pass game. I want more easy passes set up after the run. Set up off of the run is the way to say that. But the rest is just kind of like, hope you keep that same energy. The pass rush the past 2 weeks has been really good. Prior to the last bye, not so much. Hope the pass rush doesn't lose steam. One of my coaches used to say, hope isn't a strategy. So do something to make sure the pass rush doesn't lose steam. I'll actually use a stand-up comedy analogy here. We had Nick Swartzen on the show yesterday, stand-up comedian. I'm a bit of a comedy nerd. I love hearing comedians talk about comedy. Right, because they're you think it's just they're up there telling they're just good talkers, but they plan it down and they are so well rehearsed. And I'm trying to think of who said this. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this was a Seinfeld breakdown, but don't quote me on that if I'm wrong. He was asked by a young comedian, "What do you do when you pause for a laugh?" Right. The young comedian was finally having some success and was getting to the point where they were telling a punchline. And the crowd would erupt. And they'd have, 9-10 seconds where he's like, what do I do? I never had this problem. Like, what happens there? And Jerry Seinfeld said, you stay in whatever energy got the laugh, you stay there. So if the punchline was you being angry at somebody, don't come out of the laugh smiling, right? Stay angry. Come out of it. Keep the snarl on your face. If your punchline was you being tired and you're keep panning through the thing, like keep your tongue out wagging like a dog on a hot day. Stay in your energy and then come out on the other side. He's like, it's like a wave, right? You're in the tube. Just stay right there. Stay calm. Stay in the exact same energy. And then on the other side, right, have your follow up, your next joke, whatever it is. I kind of feel like that's UNC right now. You just got a big laugh for the last 2 weeks, right? You played really well. Omarion Hampton had 5 touchdowns last week. That's a banger of a punchline, right? That is everybody. People are falling over in their seats. They're laughing so hard. During this bye week, stay in that same energy, right? If you have a snarl on your face, keep the snarl. Whatever you're doing, don't change it up now. Because the last thing you want to do is have your season going down, 4 straight losses, and do one of the harder things in sports, which is just, grab your season and slam the momentum in a different direction, right? Stop the skid. And you do that, you don't want to give it back 2 weeks later because you happen to have a bye and everybody took their foot off the gas. So this bye week is a lot about just emphasizing. Right? Whatever's working, do it more. Whatever you did last bye week might not be the same thing for this bye week. Last week, you might have gotten 4 days off because everybody needed to unplug. This week, it might be 2 days off because you want to keep everybody in the same place. Might be a day and a half off. Chomping at the bit to come back. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Elsewhere in college football, talked a little bit about it yesterday, but it's such a big game. We're going to keep talking about it right up to kickoff. Duke at NC State. Football this weekend. It's a big ACC game. It's a big game for, obviously, triangle rivalries. I look at it for this reason. Manny Diaz versus C.J. Bailey. We talked about C.J. Bailey in the thesis statement a bit. I'm not putting either of these guys in these camps, but it's the same dynamic. In the NFL for about 20 years, it was a thing. Bill Belichick against rookie quarterbacks. Right, you had one of the best defensive, if not the best defensive mind in the history of the NFL against somebody that was just trying to keep their head above water. And it didn't matter if you were a first-round pick, third-round pick, sixth-round pick, undrafted rookie free agent. If you were a rookie quarterback going up against Bill Belichick, he was going to make your life living heck. And the stats back it up. Right? It was the turnovers, the losses, they all piled up. And it's because that's not a fair fight. Some guy with decades and decades and decades of scheming experience against a guy who, probably 5 years prior was going up against, people wearing braces that were in chemistry 2 hours before. Like that's not fair. When Bill Belichick was learning how to scheme up Lawrence Taylor, when he was the defensive coordinator of the Giants, these guys that he's going up against were nothing but a sparkle in their parents' eyes. Manny Diaz, again, I'm not putting him in the category of Bill Belichick, just like I'm not putting C.J. Bailey in the category of the rookie quarterbacks that Belichick was going up against, but a veteran defensive mind in college who has had success defensively throughout his career, including most recently as the defensive coordinator at Penn State, going up against a freshman quarterback is always a fun chess match. I want to see what Manny is going to scheme up for a guy who, like I said, what was it, last year, would have been, sitting in biology, sitting in whatever classes you take at a Florida high school, daydreaming about his game that night on a Friday. He's going to disguise some things. He's going to send some exotic blitzes. He's going to make it look like they're going to blitz the house and drop everybody. And he's going to try to confuse C.J. Bailey.
It's a defense that can get their hands on the ball, too.
Force turnovers.
Yep.
And by the way, I can speak from experience. The more confused you are as a quarterback, the more likely you are to give the ball to the other team. Never once heard a quarterback say, saw everything, knew what was going on, decided to throw it at the linebacker's chest anyway. Normally, it's, I didn't know what was going on. I thought I had it, thought it was this, but it wasn't, and I threw it at the linebacker's chest. And it's just a lottery game if that linebacker can catch or not. You hope he can't. You hope he's got a club, right? You hope he broke his thumb and he's got a cast there. That's your only hope at that point. These two teams, I'm struggling with this. One of the themes, and you'll hear everybody talk about it going into this game, are the two teams are going in opposite directions. I actually saw a WRL Sports article on it. And it's not wrong, so I'm not calling them out. I'm just struggling with it. NC State turning their season around, they've won the last 2 games. Duke kind of turning their season around, they've lost the last 2 games. Here's why I struggle with two teams moving in opposite directions. If you flip the schedules, I think Duke's coming in with a 2-game win streak and NC State's coming in with a 2-game losing streak, at least, right, depending on how the games prior went. Because NC State played Stanford and Cal. Duke played SMU and Miami. Those are not the same. So moving in different directions or just playing a different schedule, right? It's like I played a par 3 and in a golf match or whatever, and I hit a 4, right? That's a bogey. Meanwhile, you played a par 5, you hit a 4, that's a birdie, and us going ooh, we're in similar positions. It's I don't know. You probably played better than I did. The course matters. The opponent matters. Manny Diaz, the head coach of Duke, was asked about having to finish games against good teams because they've been in the games against SMU, Miami. They just weren't able to win them. This is what Manny Diaz had to say.
Pulling the lens back for a second, the last 2 games we've played the 2 teams that look like they're on a collision course to play for our league championship. One of those teams we lost to by a point in overtime, and one of the teams we were winning by 11 at their place in the third quarter. So I think we've shown kind of on our pathway to becoming a championship program, I think we've shown that when in spurts we can play with anybody. To go on a 28-3 run on the road anywhere is very impressive, but to do it with the caliber of team like Miami and the athletes that they have was a sight to see. But there's another level to this, and how to close games against teams like that.
You do have to close games against good teams, and I think this will be an opportunity. NC State, I would say, is a good team at this point, and if you want to prove that you can, this is a good week to do it. The other thing, it's a little different, right? On the road, and we're about to play a clip for you, but Manny Diaz closing games out on the road. Not to say it's not on the road, because it is. They're playing at NC State. But it's a little different than Miami. You know what I mean? It's not quite as far. You're more familiar with the terrain. Here's Manny Diaz on closing games out on the road.
This year, if you look at our 2 road losses in the league, both games we had second-half leads. Both games combined, I think we were outscored by 32 points in the fourth quarter. In our other 7 games, where we're 6-1, we're outscoring the opposition by 42 points, almost a touchdown better than our opposition in the fourth quarter in these other 7. So what's happening on the road? How do you close somebody out? That's a learned skill. That's not easy to do, because you're going to get a response, especially when you have the lead, which we had second-half leads in both of our road league games. And you're going to feel the momentum of the home crowd as they get into it, as their team, starts to make a fight back, which is going to happen.
I love playing on the road more than I like playing at home. I love playing at home, don't get me wrong. But silencing an away crowd might be the best feeling in sports. Making a big play and being able to hear your teammates on the sideline, it's pretty darn cool. Duke's going to try to do it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. For those of you that are tuning in just for the first time, Chuba Hubbard got paid earlier today. Chuba Hubbard, running back for the Panthers, 4-year, $33 million extension. It's rich for me. And Stu tracked down my email. He's going back and forth. Here's the issue I have with the Chuba Hubbard money, and we're going to get into this throughout the show. There's a difference between having a lot of cap space and having a lot of money that you can spend on a running back. Right? It's if I have $10, but there's $9 worth of things that I know I have to buy, I have $1. I don't have $10. The Panthers have a lot of cap space. They have a long list of things they need to buy. So, and a lot isn't even the right way to say it. They're like middle of the pack next year in cap space. I think 18th or 19th, depending on which kind of measurement you're looking at. But they are not middle of the pack in things they need to spend on. They are top of the pack in things they need to spend on. If you take money I've earmarked for something else and give it to a running back, I don't think that's money you had to spend, even though you're not going into debt for it. We'll continue to have that conversation about Chuba Hubbard. Great player. I think they overpaid. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Yesterday, prior to that, I wonder if he knew at the time. I wonder if he knew Chuba was getting paid at the time. Dan Morgan, post-trade deadline, spoke to the media. That's the GM of the Panthers. We'll play some of that audio for you and see if you notice the same thing we did. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
The Canes need to change their season slogan from Raise Up to Sup. After that terrible opener, they hit the road and come back a brand new team. Marty Necas, practically an early season MVP candidate. And everyone's afraid of the Ghost. Shane Gostisbehere's power play snipes. Yeah, Ghost, we see ya.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
What if you could be debt-free by this January? Get rid of all that high-interest debt, Pay off all your credit cards, consolidate everything into one lower payment? Hey, it's Dennis Cox. If you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low fives, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis or their express equity line of credit. So call now. Get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today and you won't make a house payment till 2025. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com, free rate quote now, 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Hey, bud, why the long face? Got laid off again, like the third time since the plague. You should move back in with your parents. What? Well, let's go to Sharky's. Now that's a good idea. Hey, they hiring? No chance they'd hire you, but Sharky's is my favorite spot, and I just love hanging there. Sharky's it is. We can discuss a new job over a cold beer and the best wings ever.
He's right, you know. No one's gonna hire you. Move back in with your parents. Sharky's, quite possibly the best neighborhood bar in the world.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling. We do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling. Quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Partly cloudy skies for us this afternoon. Another warm one with a high of almost 80 degrees. Overnight, it's warm too with temperatures in the mid-60s. And then tomorrow, a high of 77 under partly cloudy skies.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock, check if your money. Dow Jones is down 1 point to 43,729.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
Before we get to football at 4, another surprise for you. Dennis, correct me on any details I get wrong on this one because it was just passed along to me. We have 2 more 4-packs.
For Friday.
For Friday, TNA Wrestling at the Crown Coliseum in Fayetteville. 2 more 4-packs of tickets. So 8 total, but you can only win 4. The first 2 callers will get a 4-pack each. This is TNA Wrestling. Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy were here in studio yesterday. They'll be a part of it. They sounded jacked up to put on a good show. TNA will be taping their show Impact on Friday and Saturday. These tickets are for Friday. Here's the thing you need to know about it, though. These are physical tickets. So we won't email them to you and you can just get them whenever you want. You're going to have to be able to make it out here to the station to pick them up basically before the show tomorrow, right? You're going to have to...
We'll work out the details.
All right, you'll work out the details, but just know there's at least one trip you have to make out to the stadium, or to the station, excuse me. But you can get a 4-pack if you are one of the first 2 callers, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Call in right now, and you can get a 4-pack of tickets to see TNA Wrestling this Friday in Fayetteville. Call in now. Now we can jump into football at 4, and we're talking about Dan Morgan. Dan Morgan, GM of the Panthers, spoke yesterday to the media before Dave Canales spoke to the media, the head coach. That's noticeable for one particular reason. And I'll let you know in a second. But here's the thing. The trade deadline had come and gone. So obviously he was going to be asked about trading Jonathan Mingo to the Cowboys or trading Deontay Johnson to the Ravens. But he's also going to be asked about the guys that were not traded. So Bryce Young. So J.C. Horn, right? The people of value, Adam Thielen, the people of value that are still on the Panthers. And first of all, Dan Morgan was put in, I believe, a tough place by Dave Canales, the head coach. And that's why it was notable that Dan Morgan spoke before Dave Canales, because Dave Canales had yet to name Bryce Young the starting quarterback for this week. So when you're asked about not trading a guy, and you can't even say he's the starter, right? You can't acknowledge that. You have to tap dance around all of the questions. That makes it difficult for Dan Morgan. But also, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It definitely makes for some interesting conversations. I don't think Dan Morgan lies very often, which is unusual for a GM or an agent in professional sports. Usually they'll say whatever you need to hear just to have a positive outlook on the team. But Dan Morgan, and it's an honorable trait as a human, I think he's mostly been upfront and honest with us when given the chance to speak to the media. So we can parse some things from his comments. Dan Morgan was asked about not trading Bryce Young, and this was in part what he said. Dennis, can you grab the clip about not trading Bryce Young? Sorry, Dennis is giving away those tickets right now. So go ahead and hit play.
We never got into any discussions. I never opened that door. Didn't want to trade Bryce. Still don't. And committed to working with him and helping him grow and helping him develop.
That's positive, right? Didn't open that door was how he put it, which is a good way to say it. But now, listen to what Dan Morgan said when asked about teams calling about J.C. Horn, who, to be completely honest, is a more accomplished player, very, very highly thought of defensive back in the program. We have that clip for you. It is Dan Morgan talking about J.C. Horn.
People call, and I'll politely tell them he's not available. So he's ours.
Now, those are similar. I got a different feeling. And I'm curious if you did as well, right? The not trading Bryce Young and then going right into talking about we want to help him progress, we want to help him develop, to me sounded a bit like we need to work with him so his value is a little bit higher before we have those conversations, right? He's flipping a house, and if you walked in right now, the flooring isn't done. There's no paint on the walls, and the back window is covered up by a trash bag because it's being replaced, and they haven't gotten to it yet. We're not selling. It's we have some things to do first. Meanwhile, J.C. Horn, he's not available. He's ours. That's somebody saying, no, we're not selling. This is our home. Right? We're not selling the house. This is where we live. This is where our memories are. It's not going to come for sale. They're different. And by the way, they should be. Again, that's earned. J.C. Horn has played better. If he can stay healthy, he's an unbelievable talent. Bryce Young hasn't proven that yet. Right? He's been a disappointment in a lot of ways when it comes to his production. But also, think about how that looks from the player. J.C. Horn, shortly after Dan Morgan's comments, had a media availability in the locker room, and he was asked about those comments, saying, no, he's not available during trade talks. This is what J.C. Horn had to say about the Dan Morgan comments.
I usually let my agent just handle all that type of stuff, but I'm glad that's how they feel. So I hope I'm here long term too. So I'm glad they ain't had me in trade talks. I wasn't willing to trade me.
Now, I don't know if it came across as much in that clip, but if you go look at it, you can find it on YouTube. You can find it on social media. He had a hard time keeping like a big smile off his face as he said that. That is why I, on this show, and some people say I overanalyze, some people say I'm making something out of nothing. That is why I care about what a coach and what a GM say to the media. I care about it because players hear it. I care about it because players' families and friends and everybody hears it and they say, oh, did you hear what coach said about you? It can boost or it can downgrade your confidence, your mood, your feelings towards the organization. You see what it does to the player. Horn couldn't keep the smile off his face. And the same is true. Like, that's why I say, I don't, and again, it's a credit, integrity, honesty. You want people to have that in your life. Dan Morgan could have fibbed a little. Right? I'm not saying a full all-out, lie fest. Could have fibbed a little. And maybe a player who needs a confidence boost would have gotten one in Bryce Young. And I think Dan Morgan was put in a tough situation because he was talking before Dave Canales, as I mentioned. So Dave Canales hadn't mentioned him as the starter. So Dan Morgan couldn't hype him up for this week because he didn't want to step on the toes of Dave Canales and reveal who the starting quarterback was going to be.
And he was asked multiple times, and he said Dave will address that when he talks.
Which just puts him in such a tough situation. But it's just the program missing multiple chances to build up a player who has been built or broken down. I mean, I know a lot of coaches that live by the we break you down to build you back up. Right? We sometimes that's a preseason thing, right? Like the first couple of days, every single thing you do is wrong, and you're running laps and you're doing up downs, and the team is hating you, and then slowly, all right, now that one was good. Then by the end of camp, oh, look at that, we went a week without having to do any up downs. Look at you guys. That doesn't mean you didn't make any mistakes. It means the coaches are in the build up phase. Bryce Young, you tore him down, right? He's been broken down. He was rubble. It's time to start the build back. It's time to start building the confidence, and I haven't seen anyone do it. Dave Canales was asked about his relationship with Bryce. Wasn't asked, can you bring up that clip? Thank you very much, Dennis. Matter of fact, listen to it yourself. This is Dave Canales during his media yesterday.
Those are all kind of private. That's a pretty private question. We've been in constant communication, just trying to build the thing, but I'll probably keep those conversations between us.
The question was, how was your relationship with Bryce Young through everything that's happened? He said, I'll keep it private. Say you love the guy. I don't care if you do or not. Say our relationship is great. Say he is a football dude through and through, and I get along with people that like football. Say anything other than we're going to keep it private. I'll tell you right now, if you ask me, hey, what do you think of so-and-so? And I go, I'm going to keep that to myself. Probably don't like the guy. That's if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Dave Canales just said nothing at all. Build the guy's confidence a hint. Just a tiny little bit. You don't even have to go over the top. Hey, how's your relationship with Bryce? Good. And scene. That's all it had to be. You're a head coach in the NFL. How's your relationship with the guy who has started the last 2 games and run the plays that you've been calling and is starting again this week? Well, that's private. It is an entertainment business. You are people fill stadiums to watch you and Bryce run an offense. That's a pretty private question right there. I won't tell you what's in the book. I'll just say this. Dave Canales wrote a book that was very, very, very private stuff for most people. You can go check it out. I'm not going to spoil it for you and spoil the surprise. He wrote a book that I would say that's a very private question. The relationship between a head coach and a quarterback in the NFL, that's not a private conversation. Dan Morgan, Dave Canales, just build his confidence a little bit, just a tiny bit. Help him help you. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on here, Tim Donnelly for Miller Lending. Miller Lending. I mean, you know how all of this goes, right? It's all timing. Rates went up, and now inflation will return. Some might be. The projections on inflation, the projections on rates, what the election is going to do to that. I don't know. I don't pretend to know. I don't know if many people do, but what I do know is if rates go up tomorrow, you're going to wish you had locked in your mortgage rate yesterday. And if rates go down tomorrow, you're going to wish you used Miller Lending for a no closing cost loan so you don't feel bad. You don't feel like you've wasted money to refinance and get that monthly payment down. Right? Gordon Miller and Miller Lending can set you up so the predicting game is not going to cost you a bunch of money if you're wrong. Instead, they'll set you up so the predicting game is something you don't worry about at all. Rates went up, rates went down. If you have a Gordon Miller and Miller Lending no closing cost loan, you're not worried about it. You want it to go down, don't get me wrong. You want to have a lower monthly payment, but if it goes up, you're not being hurt each time it does. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's Miller Lending. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. Check them out online at millerlending.com. We have to take a break, but next up we have our ladder challenge, which I'm going to need a ruling. I'm going to ask Dennis to be a little lenient with me, but you'll have to find out what that means. We have Panthers, cons, and first goal scorer predictions for tonight's Canes game. Full segment coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Natchez heads up. Back to Orlov. He scores! A 1-2 punch from Dmitry Orlov. It's 3-2 on Orlov, second of the game.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Back to Slavin. He shot right on. Rebounds out in front. Chance out front. They score! Here come the Hats!
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes. 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
Caesars Sportsbook is the only sportsbook app with Caesars Rewards. Win or lose, every bet you place brings you closer to perks only Caesars can offer. Hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using the promo code Radio1000 and you'll place your first bet today. If you win, great. If not, you'll get it back as a bonus bet up to $1,000. Must be 21 plus and physically present in North Carolina. New users only must register using eligible promo code. First bet after registration must qualify. Max bonus bet $1,000. Bonus bet expires 14 days after receipt. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full items. Tribal Casino Gaming Enterprise is the licensed operator by the North Carolina State Lottery Commission. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit orthoninagame.nc.gov.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Michaela's Mobile Spa, Michaela! Michaela got a quick business insurance quote from Progressive and chose from over 30 customizable coverages. Sure, it helps she's her only employee and does literally everything, but while others would rest on their laurels, Michaela was hard at work saving big. So take that, hypothetical other employee who doesn't exist. Be your own Michaela. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
Looking for a new vehicle? Wilkinson Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC, and Sanford is one of the only dealerships where you can shop all 4 brands under one roof. Get unbeatable deals on new and pre-owned vehicles. Our expert service department keeps you on the road, and our full-body shop handles any repairs. It's all here at Wilkinson, where quality and convenience come first. Drive with confidence. Drive with Wilkinson Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC, GMC on NC 87 South in Sanford or online at wilkinsoncars.com.
It's Tim Donnelly for Window Nation. Right now, save 50% off all window styles, plus 0 interest for 5 years. Hurry, sale ends November 30th, so schedule an in-home estimate at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Had to wait a while for that beat to drop. Got to respect the intro. It's time for the ladder challenge here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. I said before the break I'm going to need a ruling. So, Dennis, I mean, obviously, as my competitor in the ladder challenge, our little gambling game here where we are competing against each other, yesterday we didn't get a chance to get to the ladder challenge. It was on the schedule. We had pro wrestlers coming through. We had comedians on the show, and we had a bunch to talk about.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
And it just kind of got lost in the shuffle, so we didn't do it on air. We didn't name our picks. However, most days, I place my actual bets in the morning. When I find the bet I like, I place it, and then we reveal them on air. So yesterday I did place a ladder challenge bet.
Okay.
And it did hit.
Okay, what was your bet?
My bet was Jason Tatum to total 35-plus points, rebounds, and assists combined against the Warriors. I think Tatum is a bit petty, a little bit of a grudge holder.
Sure.
So he doesn't forget the 2022 finals when the Warriors, came back from a 2-1 deficit to beat the Celtics. And, Jason Tatum could have had 2 NBA championships by the time he was 26, which would put him in pretty rare legacy. So every time he sees that Warriors jersey, he's going to be furious. So basically, here's the question I have for you. I had $15 going into yesterday's ladder challenge.
Okay.
That bet did hit, which won me $16.80. The question for you is, today I could bet the $16.80 as if we had a ladder challenge yesterday. Or I could go back and bet just $15 as if that Jason Tatum bet never happened, because I believe you did not place a bet because you wait till we reveal him on air to go place him, and we never revealed it on air.
Yes, that's usually how we do it. I'll allow
I
it.
am 100% at the mercy of your decision.
I'll allow it.
All right.
I'll allow it.
So I'm up to $16.80. I believe I'm on a 5 or 6 day or a 5-day win streak, which hopefully will last the entirety of the month, and we'll cruise into December with me with a whole bunch of money.
Okay.
With that being said, you are back to square one, correct?
I am back down to $10.
So again, just in the interest of staying on theme, I will once again give you the power. Would you like to go first or second?
You're in the lead. You go first, sir.
I'm going Thursday Night Football tonight. There's the Bengals-Ravens game, which is a banger, by the way.
Yeah, great Thursday night game.
I'm taking Jamar Chase 50-plus receiving yards.
Okay.
It is minus 700. My $16.80 will turn into $19.20 when it hits, so I'll have $19.20. Jamar averages 80 yards per game. However, as I've become wont to do on this segment, I'm looking for the motivation. Jamar Chase hasn't had more than 55 yards in the last 3 games. Joe Burrow somehow threw 5 touchdown passes last week, and none were to Jamar Chase. I don't even know if that's and T. Higgins didn't play. I don't know how that's mathematically possible on that Bengals offense. But because of that, because he's had 3 quiet games by his standards, and last week everybody ate but him, they're going to take care of Jamar tonight on a standalone game, prime time, no other football games going on. A lot of eyeballs there. They're not going to let their stud go quietly. And then also there's this history thing. I don't know if everybody saw the last time the Bengals played the Ravens. It was a great game, but Jamar had 193 yards in that contest, which would make me a winner darn near 4 times over in my bet. And the Ravens, they know their secondary stinks. They give up a ton of yards against the pass. They did trade for Tre'Davious White, a former Pro Bowler, but he is not expected to be active and play tonight because he was just traded for like yesterday. So it's the same secondary that Chase cooked once already this season to the tune of almost 200 yards. I just need him to get about a fourth of that. I'm just looking for 50-plus yards for Jamar Chase, and once that happens, I'll have $19.20 for tomorrow. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm going for. What's your ladder challenge pick?
And the Ravens' defense secondary, they give up a lot of passing yards.
Oh, to put it lightly.
They can get carved up. You know what? I'm going to go right back to Carolina Hurricanes.
Back to shots on
I'll
goal?
go back to shots on goal. Sebastian Aho only had 1 shot on goal last game. You know he's going to have a bounce back. Minus 500, Sebastian Aho. 2+ shots on goal.
Hint of, I'm not saying this negatively because I'm the same way when I gamble. Hint of you felt like you were on the right side of a bet and you didn't win, so you just run like a little stubbornness, no, I was right, I'm going to prove it. Because you last game, I guess it was Tuesday.
Just on Tuesday.
You had Sebastian Aho 2+ shots on goal, and it did not hit, so now you're going right back to the same place.
Right back to it.
Is this, the restaurant rule? You go to a restaurant you like once, bad food, that's cool. You go back twice, bad food again. See, now I'm not going back. Mm-hmm. Is this the restaurant rule? If you don't hit this, is Aho done to you?
If I go to a restaurant 10 times and it's the first 9 times are great, and that 10th time I'm like, that wasn't as good today. I'm like, okay, that's an anomaly.
You go back once.
I'm
bad
going
food
back
twice in a row.
If again, then but okay, now there's a trend here.
All right,
it's Sebastian Aho. We know he's going to bounce back.
9% shooting percentage.
Yeah, but he puts a ton of shots on goal.
That's true too. That is true too. Martin Necas, 27 roughly.
That's stupid.
I don't think either of those are sustainable, but those are both wild numbers. If you would have given me the odds on those two things happening through whatever it's been 11 games, I would have paid out quite a bit.
Yeah, he has 7 goals on 27 shots on goal. Does Martin Necas?
That's absurd.
Insane.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan.
By the way, to give context for people, that's like someone shooting in the NBA, from 3-point range, 55-60%.
Yeah. Yep. It's basically what Jared Goff is doing in completion percentage, 85%.
There it is.
Over the last 5 weeks or something like that. Let's go ahead and jump into cons and cons. Cons and cons. We're talking Panthers for this edition of Cons and Cons. What are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about? 2 questions about the Carolina Panthers right now. As always, hey, I've got good news and bad news. Which do you want first? I want the bad news. All right, let's start with the concerns. My concern going into this Giants game in Germany Sunday morning. Bryce processing quickly. My concern is him making decisions, getting the ball out fast. Now, I'm not advocating for babying him, dumbing it down, not giving him the full playbook, calling certain plays. I want to give him the chance to prove me wrong, but I'm concerned the Giants are going to speed him up to the point where he's not comfortable. The Giants, their front 7, which includes Brian Burns, who's obviously former Panther, and Dexter Lawrence, who's a guy from around here, even without Kayvon Thibodeau, who's not expected to play, the Giants' front 7 is good at getting after the quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
They lead the NFL in sacks. They lead the NFL in sacks per game. That's 3.9 per game. Next closest is a 3-way tie between Denver, the Jets, and Minnesota with 3.4. That's a big difference. Half a sack is 3.4 kind of makes sense. There's a bunch of teams there. 3.9 is an anomaly, sticking out above the rest. And then on top of that, the Panthers who are, by the way, getting healthier, mostly healthy. Only had 3 players who did not practice today. Adam Thielen, hammy. Ike Ekwonu, ankle, and he missed last week. And Taylor Moton, that was just a rest day. But Ike still isn't practicing. I'd be, at this point, kind of surprised if he plays this weekend. So now you have at least 2 backup offensive linemen because they've had a bunch of injuries at the center spot. At least 2 backup offensive linemen going up against what is the best pass rush in the NFL this season. And then on top of that, you have a quarterback that hasn't made the fastest decisions so far in his career. I'm a little concerned that either he's going to speed up to the point where he's what's the be fast, don't hurry, or hurry, don't rush. All these, I'm worried he's going to cross that line from, hurrying to rushing. And once he rushes, that's when bad decisions are made.
I used to tell my players I coast across fast but not frantic.
Another one. That's a good one. I'm worried he's going to cross that line from fast to frantic, and maybe make some decisions pre-snap. All right, I got to get rid of the ball fast. They're getting after me in 2.6 seconds. I'm going to throw it till we get. And then if you're doing that pre-snap, unless it's just obviously a one-on-one and you're just going to chuck it up there and give him a chance, I don't like that. So I hope Bryce proves me wrong. Like I said, you have to give him the chance. You have to give him the opportunity to prove me wrong. But I'm worried about him getting a little frantic out there, speeding up because of the pass rush.
I'm actually along the same lines. My big concern is Ike Ekwonu, because you mentioned did not practice again today, missed all last week, did not play this past Sunday due to an ankle injury he suffered against the Denver Broncos. Yeah, you got away with it against the New Orleans Saints because the New Orleans Saints, in terms of sack percentage in the NFL, is one of the worst. They're 26 at 5.86%. They're 26 in the NFL in sack percentage. The Giants are the best in the NFL at 12.28%. And that also includes them not getting a sack this past Sunday against the Washington Commanders. Even without getting a sack their past game, they still have the best sack percentage in the entire NFL. That is the big concern when you're going to have your backup and Brady Christensen playing left tackle. You know he's going to be going against his former teammate in Brian Burns. So, yes, it's Ike Ekwonu's ankle, and you're having a backup at left tackle. So, yeah, pretty much along the same lines as you. It's pass protection against that front. And Dexter Lawrence is a monster. But, hey, Robert Hunt, this is why you got paid $100 million over the next 5 years.
You're darn right.
Yeah.
Go earn that check. What currency do they use in Germany?
I think it's euro.
Euro?
Euro.
Yeah. I don't know how many euros 100 million over 5 years is, but earn your one game check of euros.
But it's also Cade Mays, who's the third starting center now this season, Dexter Lawrence is going to line up directly over him at times as well.
If I'm Dexter Lawrence, I'm lining up over the center as many times as I can. And if I know Ike Ekwonu's been battling an ankle injury and he does play, if I'm Brian Burns, I'm lining up over Ike Ekwonu until he proves that ankle is trustworthy.
Oh, yeah.
Other than that, you're going to get the best guys on your worst lineman the entire time. That's concern. Let's get to the fun part. Let's get to the confidence. I have a feeling people are going to be surprised by my confidence here. My confidence? The running back room.
Oh, okay.
I really I want to be clear here. I really like Chuba Hubbard, and I am excited by Jonathan Brooks if he plays. I think they are very good players. I don't love the money and the draft capital they used on the running back room. But that doesn't change how much I like the players and their ability. If we were drafting running backs, I'd be probably higher on those two guys than most are on those two guys. I really like them. The issue is not them. It's we do this all the time where people get seemingly mad at players because they're overpaid. And I'm going well, what do you want them to do? You want them to
No, actually, I'm going to take less.
Yeah, go to their agent ooh, did they say 33? I'm worth 21 at best. Go counter with less per year. No, right? No. I really like the Panthers running back room, and especially if Jonathan Brooks can provide just a hint more explosiveness. Mm-hmm. I made this observation on Twitter. Chuba Hubbard's career-long rush is 38 yards.
He's done that twice this year.
He just got $33 million. I don't know how I would search for this. He has to be the only running back in NFL history to get within $5 million of his longest career rush, right? Unless it's Adrian Peterson got, $93 million and his longest career rush was 97. I guess maybe that would be one way to go about it. But getting $33 million to a running back whose career longest rush is 38, I'm going to need somebody to get a little bit more explosive than that. So if Jonathan Brooks brings that, I like this running back room even more. I just still think it's overpaid. I still think the Panthers could have used that money better elsewhere. But I like Chuba and I like Brooks. My confidence is the running back room.
All right, for me, kind of along the same lines. By the way, we do not discuss beforehand what our conversations are going to be in terms of our.
I am as surprised as you are when Dennis agrees with me.
Yeah, there's that. As great as the pass rush is for the New York Giants, they're equally as bad against the run.
That's because they're all pinning their ears back and speed rushing around the outside.
They give up 5.2 yards per carry. That's dead last in the NFL. Dead last in the NFL in terms of yards allowed per carry. Dead last. This is where you got to lean on. You want to alleviate that pass rush or alleviate Bryce Young from having to make those quick decisions? Lean on it. You got a running back in Chuba Hubbard, and like you mentioned, Jonathan Brooks is going to be itching and ready to go, and you got a bye week coming up right after you get back from Germany. Lean on it. Give Chuba 23-24 carries this game, and give Jonathan Brooks another 6. Run the ball 30 times this game, control the clock, because guess what? As good as their pass rush is, you can actually move the ball against their defense. By the way, the Giants defensively, opponents complete passes at nearly 71% of the time. That's 31st in the NFL. Outside of their pass rush, their defense isn't good. They're good at one thing, and it's a very good thing. But outside of that, it's not that good.
And it shows how bad they are at everything else, because having a great pass rush is one of those things that should, logically, if used correctly, make everything else better.
But it doesn't, though.
Or it does, and just imagine if they didn't have the great pass rush,
how
bad everything else is. The pass rush is so good it makes everything else 15% better, and they're still bad at it. That's kind of the real scary part if you're the Giants. And they are missing Thibodeau, which is worth mentioning because he's a pretty freaky athlete out there, edge rushing opposite Brian Burns. So there you go, cons and cons for the Carolina Panthers. And we almost blew through this. It's time for first goal scorer predictions.
Oh, we're there already.
We are there already. Today's going fast. If you want to win the ultimate sim racing experience at Apex Racing Lab, listen up. We need 3 callers right now to call in and predict who's going to score the first goal for the Canes tonight against Pittsburgh and in what period they are going to score it. Who will score the first goal and in what period? We do this every single weekday game for the Canes. They play tonight against Pittsburgh, so of course we're doing it. We need 3 official contestants. Call in. You'll make your choices on the air. Everybody else, if you want to participate, feel free to go ahead and jump into our YouTube comments on our live stream. You can send them in there. We'd love to hear from you, but that's just for bragging rights. The number to call is 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Call in now with your first goal scorer predictions. The prize is the ultimate sim racing experience at Apex Racing Lab. We have a gift card where you will be able to rev up your engines at Apex Racing Lab, the Triangle's largest sim racing destination. Experience the ultimate thrill with 20 cutting-edge simulators, expert instructors, and world-class virtual tracks. It's all located in Carey's McGregor Village in Greater Raleigh. Visit Apex Racing Lab today and unleash your racing passion. Learn more at apexracinglab.com. You only get the gift card if you get it right. You need both the player and the period for the first goal scored by the Canes correct in order to win the ultimate sim racing experience. Once we hear from the callers, both Dennis and I will give our choices. And again, if you want to participate and you're not an official contestant, you can send it to us on social media. You can send it to us on our YouTube comments. And if you get it right, you won't get the prize, but you'll get the glory and the bragging rights that come with getting the correct answer. Chad in Hillsborough is up first. You're on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline. Chad, thank you for calling in. Who scores the first goal and in what period?
Aho in the first. He's due for one.
Aho in the first. You and Dennis are both hoping he's firing away. Appreciate the call. Stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to get from you. That's about as chalky as it's been.
Yeah.
But maybe shifting. We'll talk about it in a second. Jonathan in Chapel Hill, you're up next. Who scores the first goal for the Canes and in what period?
Someone else that's due. Jalen Chatfield in the second.
I love how often Chatty gets picked in this. It just shows how much of a fan favorite he is because he has 0 goals in the season and he keeps popping. I've picked him, and he keeps popping up on everybody's prediction.
I picked him last game.
There you go.
Chatfield in the second, though. Okay, I like it.
Chatfield, yeah, a little slow start maybe in this one. Appreciate it, Jonathan. Stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab. And finally, Nolan in Wendell Falls. Nolan, who scores the first goal and in what period did they score it?
Jarvis in the first period.
Jarvis in the first. Do you want to give it any more just for bragging rights? Is it a power play goal? Is it a one-timer? Do you want to give any details?
No.
All right, that's fair. Jarvis in the first. Go ahead and stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you. I like it. No, Jarvis in the first. Very what is it, Vicky Valancourt from the Waterboy?
Oh.
Ain't no guess. That's what it's going to be.
What's going to be. By the way, Clinton on our YouTube live chat said Chatfield first period from the blue line.
Look at that. Chatfield just stays in everyone's predictions. Dennis, before you grab everybody's info, who do you have?
I'm going to go Brent Burns. First of the season, first period.
That's how Burns, another fan favorite. We get more predictions for first goal scorers from guys that have scored 0 goals this season because they like Chatfield, Burnsy. These are guys who fans love.
They are due. But here's the thing about with Burns, though. He's been much more active, I think, over the last 5 games in terms of getting pucks towards the net and just pushing the puck up the ice. He has 4 assists in the last 5 games. And he had 2 against Philadelphia as well. We're starting to see the shots on goal come up a little bit more for him, too.
I talked about how Aho used to be just so chalky. I'm going Natchez in the first, which might be the new chalky pick. Aho in the first. I mean, since we started doing this, and we've done it now all season, obviously. We did in the postseason last year. We've sprinkled it in for a very long time. Aho in the first has been like the free bingo square, if you will. People call in, they give you Aho in the first. Aho in the first. That's what it is. At least this year, Aho's shot, he's been playing well. I like the movement. I like the leadership. I like, some of the setups he's had for his teammates. I like the aggressiveness. He's had some games with a whole bunch of shots on goal. 8.1% shooting percentage. I don't know if that's the chalky pick anymore. I think I may have just gotten the favorite who's shooting 27% on his shots on goal. Martin Natchez in the first. As always, Dennis and I are not eligible for the prize, but we do it for bragging rights, and you can as well. Send it to us on social media, the player and the period that the first goal is scored tonight against Pittsburgh for the Carolina Hurricanes. If you get it right, we'll let you gloat, or at least we'll gloat for you. We'll give you your credit on air. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Capital Financial Advisory Group. Get your very own total and customized retirement plan. We know the impact great coaching can have in sports. We know the great impact it can have on players, teams, reaching your true potential. This holds true in the financial arena as well. You want to make sure you're working with someone you trust who can help explain your situation and the solutions that will benefit you. Why settle for a boilerplate, one-size-fits-all retirement plan when you can call Coach Pete and the fiduciary planning team at Capital Financial, and they'll build you a completely customized plan free of charge. And that's all of our favorite price. Free of charge. Just call 800-691-3215. That's 800-691-3215. Free of charge if you say you know me. Just say, hey, I heard about this from Tim on 99.9 The Fan. Or you're more of a texter than a caller. That's fine. Text my name, Tim, T-I-M, to 600-700. Either way works the same. You can call in at 800-691-3215, or you can text Tim to 600-700. It's Capital Financial Advisory Group. They'll take care of you and hook you up with some free bestsellers from Coach Pete as well, if you let him know you heard about it here. Kane's first goal scorer, I have Natchez. Dennis has Burns, both in the first. Our callers went with Aho in the first. That was Chad's pick. Jonathan took Chatfield in the second, and Nolan took Jarvis in the first. We'll see if any of us are big winners tonight. Coming up next, my co-host on the Pack Therapy podcast covering NC State football and 10-year NFL veteran Mike Glennon. We talk about what Bryce Young is going through, how difficult it is to play an overseas game, and much, much more. Stick around.
The Adam Gold Show.
More than the Panthers winning, I was just excited that Bryce Young looked like a quarterback who could play in the league. Now let's build on that. It doesn't do anybody any good to pretend that Bryce isn't going to be the quarterback. He has to be the starter in Germany. I don't get why we decide, well, we're just going to play coy. Who is that serving? Put him in the game, let him go.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan. 'Tis the season for family and friends. 'Tis the season for gifting. And 'tis the season for making holiday dreams come true. 'Tis the season for using the old-timey contraction 'tis. And 'tis the time of year for holiday scratch-offs. With over $85 million in total prizes, 'tis the best gift of all.
'Tis the season to gift endless joy with holiday scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.06 to 9.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Here's Brandon with Parkway Sleep Centers.
Tired of waiting for a sleep treatment? At other sleep centers, it can take 6 to 8 months just to get an appointment and cost you thousands more. Not Parkway Sleep Health Centers. We schedule you within weeks and we'll save you money too. We have over 20 years of experience serving the Triangle. Let our expert team help you sleep better sooner.
End your sleep problems. Live your best life. Experience the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit parkwaysleep.com and start your journey to better sleep today. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open and happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable.
At the Home Depot, we know you can't control everything, like when your guests arrive too early for Saturday college football. But you can control your grill. With the Traeger Timberline XL, you can watch the game, not the grill. Monitor your football feast from anywhere using the Traeger app. With the Timberline XL, you can bake, smoke, sear, fry, and saute. That's Desmond Howard level versatility.
Huddle up, the food's done.
Defend your game time with Traeger and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. I live and work on both coasts, travel the country, and there's nothing better than Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet and half-price appetizers, Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6. Visit all 5 Triangle locations and ask for their great daily beer specials. And how about this special? Every Sunday, they have $6 Bloody Marys and $6.50 Jamesons. Dine in, carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Train heating and cooling systems are engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer and learn more. It's hard to stop a train.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. It is a Thursday, and we've taken to having Mike Glennon here in studio with us to break down what's going on in the football world. Obviously, State a big win over the weekend, and when we have a State legend on, it would make sense for us to talk a whole bunch about that. But we've already done it. It's on the Pack Therapy podcast. You can find it everywhere podcasts can be found. We may touch on it at the end, but if you want Mike's true in-depth feelings, observations, insight into State beating Stanford and getting ready for Duke this weekend, you can hear it, like I said, on the Pack Therapy podcast, found everywhere podcasts can be found, and on our 99.9 The Fan YouTube page. When we have him on this show, a lot of times we use him as a 10-year NFL veteran as the insight rather than the State legend. We'll talk Bryce Young. He's going to get the start in Germany this weekend against the Giants. But I can't resist asking. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow tonight, Thursday Night Football, number 1 and number 2 in the entire league in QBR. I don't know if you could do it 2 more different ways. As a kind of quarterback nerd and guy that's played in the NFL, what are you looking for tonight?
Yeah, sounds like you're a big fan of both of them.
I am. That's a jab at my fantasy team, by the way. Mike and I are in a league, and I have them both.
Lamar is playing as good of football as I've ever seen in his career. I've always been a little on the fence with him as a passer, and right now he is throwing the ball exceptionally well. And all the kind of concerns of him sometimes missing throws or sometimes not being on time or just not looking like the purest pocket passer is gone. I mean, he looks like an elite pocket passer, and obviously he's got the ability to use his legs unlike anyone else in the league. So he's played exceptionally well. Joe Burrow, I was concerned heading into the season with his wrist injury. I tore the same ligament in my left wrist that he did his right, and my wrist still is not 100%, so I wasn't sure how he was going to bounce back from that. But he's throwing the ball as well as he seems like he ever has as well. So these are two teams with two of the best quarterbacks in the league. Cincinnati not playing as well and kind of in a win now. I loved kind of seeing Burrow last week, throws 5 touchdowns and still looks pissed off.
Angry.
And I think he knows that they need to win this one to get in. So I think we'll see these Thursday night games. You never know what you're going to get. I'm really looking forward to this one because hopefully it's two offenses that it becomes a shootout.
From two quarterbacks playing some of the best ball to one who's just trying to get 1% better each week in Bryce Young. I try to find similarities or situations that you've been in your NFL career and kind of relate them to what Bryce is going through. Never going to be complete apples to apples, but the Panthers with the Deontay Johnson trade and then the Jonathan Mingo trade and with Adam Thielen still not back, their passing game is essentially a second-year quarterback and rookies. It is their 3 leading receivers that are currently on the roster in receiving yards are the rookie tight end Jatavian Sanders, rookie wide receiver Xavier Legette, rookie wide receiver Jalen Coker. Their quarterback is a second-year player. So I went to your second year to see if you had any rookie wide receivers running around. Turns out you had a pretty good one. Your second year, you had a nice little 6-7 game starting stretch where it was pretty much headlined by you and rookie wide receiver Mike Evans. How much does an NFL team, if they do at all, have to dumb down their passing game when you are depending on a guy who was, taking finals 10 months earlier and a second-year quarterback, which isn't a rookie, but it's not a veteran either?
I don't think they're going to be dumbing it down for Bryce. You wonder what the other 10 guys on the field, if what they're capable of, especially at the receiver position, not knowing how intelligent they are and if they're able to pick up things. I don't think they'll have to dumb it down too much, but it may turn more into what I think of as like the now the third preseason game, what used to be the fourth preseason game, where it's all like the undrafted guys, it's all the rookies, and you're kind of just going out running your basic plays. I'm sure there is some of that, but I'm sure they got all day to get these guys up to speed on the plays. I'm sure it's a lot of walkthroughs, a lot of time with the receivers coach and these receivers just going over assignment, and making sure that they're doing the right thing even before the ball is snapped, and then once the ball is snapped that they're just in the right place. So I don't think they'll have to dumb it down too much, definitely not for Bryce. And the receivers at the NFL level, they should be able to pick up the offense on a given week.
Mike Glennon joining us here in studio on The Drive on 99.9 The Fan. How hard is it to play in an overseas game? They're going to be in Germany for this one. It's the 9:30 Eastern time start against the Giants.
I've only played in one of them. We were in I was in Oakland, and we played Indianapolis the week before in Indianapolis. Instead of going back to Oakland, we went straight to England. Now the time change from California to England, I think, is 9 hours. The time change from this, I'm not sure, 5 or 6 hours.
Clue. Very bad with geography.
I'll be curious when they're going out. We played the Bears that day. The Bears didn't fly out till that Friday, and pregame they definitely looked tired. I mean, it was like, I think if you're going to do this, you go out early in the week to get that time to adjust. Not quite as big a deal from the East Coast, but it is challenging. I think it's just you're waking up, your internal clock is thrown off. The setting's different. The food's different. Everything about it just feels a little bit different. You look in the stands and you'll see someone wearing a Jets Mark Sanchez jersey, a Patriots Tom Brady jersey, and you're like, we don't play for either of those teams. but it's just a different feel out there. But it's cool at the same time to get to experience what it's like to go to a different country and kind of see the European fans show up.
And the matchup is with the Giants. Now, you played for the Giants, and I don't know how many guys are still around, but I believe Dexter Lawrence was there, who's a guy from Wake Forest right here in the Triangle. He's having an unreal season. Is there a way the Panthers can tame that guy? Because some of the stats, and this is the highest compliment you can give an interior defensive lineman, some of the stats are Aaron Donald-like right now for Lawrence, and he's 30 pounds heavier than Aaron Donald.
Dexter is a huge dude. Like, you see Aaron Donald in person, he's more like chiseled, smaller guy. You're kind of like, how is that guy this good at football? Dexter looks like what you imagine a NFL defensive tackle looking like. And between him, Brian Burns, and I think Thibodeau's back down. But I know that Azeez Ojulari's been playing better for them. So the Panthers' offensive line is going to have their hands full. Bryce probably going to have to get the ball out of his hands pretty quick, and he's going to have to go into the game with the mindset that I need to, know where 1 and 2 is and get to number 3 really quick, because I'm not going to have all day back there. The other thing I will say, sometimes in these overseas games, I don't know if they're playing on turf or grass, feels like the
soccer
grass
field
sometimes aren't that good, and those pass rushers are always complaining.
What is it? What is this? Bermuda? Zoysia? What are we working with in Europe? By the way, we were right. Kayvon Thibodeau not expected to be activated, even though he is eligible to come off IR. I doubt we'll see him in the Germany game. I want to touch on some college football stuff here before we talk state, if we have the time. College football playoff rankings came out earlier this week. Miami is the only team from the ACC in the projections right now. SMU, one of the first teams out. How bad – I know you care about the ACC like I care about the ACC. How bad would it be for the conference to just get one team into the college football playoff?
Yeah, that would not be good. And Clemson losing last week to Louisville definitely hurt
Louisville.
That, because Clemson was looking like one of the best teams in the country, to be honest. It was after that Georgia game – that was not a good look for Clemson ACC, but since then they've been on a roll.
They got right with that App State game and rolled.
That definitely hurts. It would not be a good reflection on the ACC. And as a old school member of the ACC, it's almost like even if SMU gets in, that almost hurts our look a little as well, because it doesn't even really feel like they're really part of the ACC?
No, I agree with you. It's like the old versus the new, but I'm claiming them because I know if Texas goes and wins a national championship, there's going to be SEC chants. So,
absolutely, I'll claim them, but
I'm with it.
I would rather one of the blue blood programs of just the OGs to get in, but we'll have to accept our kind of SMU as our ACC school and definitely start pulling for them, because we want to see 2 teams get in.
Although I might be willing to, if you don't claim SMU, does that let us not claim Stanford and Cal? That might be send the success and the hardships away at the same time. Just because I was teasing a little bit there. NC State 2-game win streak over. Cal and Stanford, who we just talked about. Is it time to start planning Pop-Tart Bowl trips again? Or are we looking at another 5-game winning streak to end the season?
I don't know if we're looking at a 5-game win streak, but 2 games ago, we're talking about is NC State going to be bowl eligible? I feel confident that yes, they will definitely win one of these next 3 games and become bowl eligible. This is the best NC State's offense has looked all year long. CJ Bailey looks exceptional, and they've gone from forcing the ball to KC Concepcion to just letting it happen organically, and it's the best the offense has looked. Getting Hollywood Smothers more involved, he looks like he is now the featured running back. And I'm extremely excited about Hollywood Smothers, the explosiveness. But it's not only that, it's for being a small guy. He was bouncing off of linebackers, defensive linemen. And between him and C.J. Bailey, two freshmen on the team, the future is bright for this NC State offense.
That's Mike Glennon, NC State legend, longtime NFL quarterback, friend of the show. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for having me, Tim.
Once again, check out the Pack Therapy podcast, which I host with Mike. You can find it everywhere podcasts can be found, as well as YouTube, 99.9 The Fans YouTube channel. There's a new episode out as of today, so go ahead and check that out. And if you want Mike to answer one of your questions, you can always leave comments on that YouTube page. We peruse the comments and pass them along to Mike each and every week, so we encourage you to do that as well. With that being said, it is time for the starting 5 coming up next, including the latest proof for my theory that Dave Canales and Bryce Young might not like each other. Stick around.
tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Natchez heads up. Back to Orlov. He scores! A 1-2 punch from Dmitry Orlov. It's 3-2 on Orlov, second of the game.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Back to Slavin. He shot right on. Rebounds out in front. Chance out front. They score! Here come the Hats!
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Terms and conditions apply.
Morning people wake up for peace and quiet. McDonald's breakfast people, we wake up for the sweet rush of getting that warm, delicious breakfast right before it ends.
Enjoy a savory sausage McMuffin with a fluffy egg for only $2.50. Be a McDonald's breakfast person. Get the most important deal of the day right after you wake up. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It's Tim Donnelly for Window Nation. Experts say that heating costs are increasing up to 23% this winter. And if your windows aren't from Window Nation, your money is literally going out the window. They have some of the best insulated windows so your heat stays inside. And right now, get these amazing windows at 50% off. Plus, you could save even more money with 0% interest for 5 years. Hurry, sale ends November 30th. Schedule your fast in-home estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
The NWSL is so on, and now it's on ESPN. From rookies to rising stars to legends of the game, the world's best players battle it out in pursuit of an NWSL championship. The NWSL on ESPN, presented by Ally, all season long on the networks of ESPN and ABC. It's so on.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. After some morning rain, we warmed up back into the 80s this afternoon. Warm again tonight, 64. Morning clouds for your Friday. It's afternoon sunshine, and it's warm again. We could reach the record high of 80 degrees.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 0.59 points. That's right, less than 1 point. 0.59 points to 43,729. Market update brought to you by the Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to the Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities. This hour of the drive brought to you by Zero Res. This holiday season, Zero Res is hosting a food drive. When you get 3 rooms cleaned and donate non-perishable food, they'll clean a 4th room for free. Visit ZeroResRaleigh.com. Again, ZeroResRaleigh.com.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It's been a rapid-fire day here, and it's not going to slow down now.
No, it's not.
It's time for the starting five. Let's start with number 5.
1, 2, 3, 4. Those are all kind of private. That's a pretty private question. You know, we've been in constant communication. You know, just trying to build the thing. But I'll probably keep those conversations between us.
That was Dave Canales, the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, when asked about his relationship with Bryce Young. That is the at least starting quarterback for this week and the head coach. It's a private question to ask, what's your relationship like with your quarterback? I'm going to keep that private. I just want to ask something here. If somebody were to ask you, hey, what do you think of so-and-so? And you said, that's a private question. I'm just going to go ahead and keep those thoughts to myself. Do you think I would walk away from that believing that you're good friends or that you don't like that person? Probably that there's some kind of thought that you're trying to hide.
Probably the latter.
And do you think that is like high level super? You have to have like a sociology, anthropology, psychology degree to understand that. No, I think every person on the planet would know if I ask you, like, hey, I just cooked up this meal and you ate it. Did you like it? And I go, like, I'm going to keep my thoughts private. I'm not walking away thinking you liked what I cooked. What in the heck is that answer from Dave Canales? And can we play it one more time? The question was like, how was your relationship with Bryce Young through everything that's happened this season? This is what Dave Canales said.
Those are all kind of private. That's a pretty private question. You know, we've been in constant communication. You know, just trying to build the thing. But I'll probably keep those conversations between us.
It's almost comical how bad that answer is. It's almost comical. Now I'll take this, one step further back. I had vibes. I had inferences, just kind of observations weeks ago now, probably a month ago now, that I was like, maybe just Dave Canales and Bryce Young don't like each other. And by the way, that's not to say either of them are jerks. That's not to say either of them are bad people. That's not to say either of them are completely and totally, unable to find happiness or anything. It's just sometimes the chemistry is off. Sometimes you meet somebody and you're like, I'm sure you're a nice person. You're just not my dude. I think they don't like each other. And then when something like that happens, I go like, Exhibit A. Right? It's, okay, that's something else to add to the gut feeling, right? It's confirming what I thought. And as much as Dave Canales wants to say it's a private conversation, it's important. If the quarterback and the head coach don't have a good relationship, you better be two Hall of Famers to make that work. You have to be really gosh darn good to make that work. And actually, I would even say this. If it was a defensive-minded head coach that said that, I wouldn't care as much. Because then the most important relationship for the quarterback is the offensive coordinator or whoever's calling the plays. Dave Canales is that. He is the voice that Bryce Young hears the most. So it's just, that's not great. And then secondarily, like in addition to like they actually need to have a good relationship, that's the easiest way to solve this. The secondary part of that is if you don't, lie or withhold the truth. Just go ahead and say good, or say, Bryce is in that room. Oh, everybody gets along. Like just dance. Don't say I'm gonna keep it private. I remind people of this all the time. You're not under oath at the podium. You are not going to perjure yourself if somebody goes like, hey, how's your and Bryce's relationship? And you go, it's good. Still getting to know him, but 4 or 5 months, however long we known each other, it's going well. Nobody's going to be like, I object. Goodness gracious. Treat it like you're walking down the hallway and somebody just sees you and goes, hey, how's it going? They don't actually want to know, like, Driving in, I hit every red light, and I'm having some I don't know, money problems, and my dog is sick. Like, they just want you to go, good. How about you? Going great. No complaints. Living the dream. Say any of it. Listen up here, bucko. Oh, okay. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. All together.
Straight handoff, Marshall to the left side, powering into the pile, going forward, and he's in. That's an App State touchdown.
That's an App State touchdown. App State at Coastal Carolina tonight.
Yeah.
There's college sports kind of all over the state of North Carolina for a Thursday. NCAA playing men's basketball now at Wake Forest.
Yep.
Then there's the App State at Coastal football game. So it's not North Carolina, but it's a North Carolina team going to South Carolina. Florida Atlantic at ECU football.
It's a 8 o'clock game.
Some of these games have some things that are on the line. Now, Wake Forest, obviously, on the line would be like an embarrassing loss. NCAA program-changing win, possibly. Go beat an ACC team. Who knows what could happen? App State kind of needs this one over Coastal. Bowl eligibility and everything starts coming into play. Florida Atlantic ECU, same deal. Like we're at the point in the season now where you start counting games left on your schedule and they're dwindling. And if you need wins, you got to find them somewhere and quick. So these games are not run-of-the-mill Thursday throwaways.
Both App State and Coastal 4-4 on the year. Now App State didn't get to play Liberty because of Hurricane Helene, so they only have 3 more games left. They got to win 2 in order to get to 6 to be bowl eligible. I mean, unless there's a bowl out there that makes an exception for them being 5 and 6, maybe.
I believe during conference championship week, if they're not in it, they can schedule another game if they can find an opponent.
If they can find an opponent, that's possible.
Then you're forking over probably hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it.
Yeah, but where they currently stand in the Sun Belt, they're in the eastern part. They're like 5th.
Yep.
So they're probably not going to get in there. But they have Georgia Southern coming up at the end of the year as well, which is not going to be an easy game because Georgia Southern's at the top of the Sun Belt East, and they also have to play James Madison as well. That's going to be a home game. So it's kind of like a gotta-have-it game for App State.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get to a bowl, this is the one you have to get.
And I have some – do not fire the breaking news sounder, but it's kind of breaking news.
Go on.
For ECU fans, that will be both exciting and bittersweet. Keaton Mitchell, former ECU running back, has been activated, and he's expected to make his debut in the NFL this season. Because last season he was kind of a spark for the Ravens, big play threat, averaged a whole bunch of yards per carry at the running back spot, then blew out his knee, and he's been working to get back on IR. Today is the day that he has been activated and is expecting to make his debut against the Bengals. That's the exciting part, right? Keaton Mitchell, every time he gets a carry, every time he returns a kick, that is an infomercial for your program. That is especially if the announcers decide to go, oh, the young running back out of ECU. That is an advertisement for your football program. The bittersweet part of it is, with COVID years of eligibility, he could still be an ECU player this year.
Yeah, he left after just 3 years at ECU.
And so he had a freshman year, 2020, which is the year you get to do over. So in 2021, he was once again a freshman. Then 2022, he was a sophomore, in which he ran for 1,452 yards.
Yeah, he had a great season.
On 7.2 yards per attempt for 14 touchdowns, in addition to 250-plus receiving yards.
That was a pretty good ECU team that went 8-5 that year in 2022. Almost beat State.
Last year, which was the rookie year that we talked about, where he flashed some really impressive plays and then got hurt, could have been his junior year at ECU, which would make this year his senior year at ECU. I would say they would already be bowl eligible if they had Keaton Mitchell out there. He's and a lot of running backs are, you need holes, and he does to an extent, but he's also one of the guys that makes something out of nothing. You get him on a perimeter run, and he'll just make a guy miss. And he did that in the NFL last year, again, before the injury. So excited to see him for the Ravens against the Bengals tonight on Thursday Night Football. That leads us to number 3.
Jackson will run. Sidestep the man, gets inside the 10, the 5, hurdles a man, and steps in for the touchdown.
Thursday Night Football tonight, Ravens, Bengals. It is in Baltimore. This is an electric one. Let's just call it what it is. Right now, if you look up QBR, which is the ESPN supposedly all-encompassing stat for quarterbacks, passing, rushing, third downs graded more important than first downs and touchdowns and all this thing. It's algorithms, smart people. It's ESPN stat. Number 1 and number 2 in the entire NFL right now are Lamar Jackson's number 1, Joe Burrow's number 2. They're playing against each other tonight, Thursday Night Football. You can hear that right here on 99.9 The Fan.
No, that's actually on News Plus.
News Plus.
WRO News Plus, because we have Canes tonight, and
you're
Duke
right.
women's basketball is on Buzz Sports Radio because they're on the road at Liberty.
We had this whole conversation in the office today, and
we did.
I botched it then, and I just botched it again. Cincy and Baltimore, they've already played a classic. They've already done it. Baltimore and Cincy back on October 6th, so almost a month ago, 41-38 overtime game. They're in the same division. They see each other all the time. They know each other super well. In that game, the Ravens-Bengals game last time, Lamar Jackson threw for 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. Joe Burrow threw for 5 touchdowns and 1 interception. It was a shootout. And if we get anything like that tonight, I will be quite excited. It'll be on one of the screens that I have open in front of me tonight because there's probably going to be one on some college sports. Then there'll be the Canes. Then there'll be Thursday Night Football. It's pretty good day. Pretty good evening.
A lot of fun stuff going on.
And then on top of that, let me go ahead and make sure this one's right. I know for a fact that leading the NFL in receiving is Derrick Henry. So we have the leader in QBR, second in QBR, the leader in rushing yards. Jamar Chase was passed this past weekend by Justin Jefferson. So he fell all the way to number 2 in the NFL in receiving yards. There's just a lot of production for the offenses out there in this one. If you are a true football nerd, especially on offense, there's going to be some really good players out there.
You can listen to the Canes right here on the Fan. Then you can also watch the football game. If you can't watch it, the Canes game at home, you get the best of all worlds, folks.
It's a glorious time on the calendar. It's a wonderful time on the sports calendar. Could also help this, like if the Bengals win, I'll just throw this out there.
Yeah.
If the Bengals win, after starting 0-3, they would have worked their way all the way back to 500, I believe.
They'll be 4-5 because they're 3-5 right now, if I remember correctly.
They are 1 second. Now they're 4-5.
Oh, they are 4-5. Okay.
So they would be 5-5, back in the playoff race, and I believe Joe Burrow would vault himself back into the MVP race, which was my prediction preseason. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, for Joe Burrow.
And if you're a Steelers fan, you don't mind if the Ravens lose this one.
Rank the North teams as far as hate for Steelers. Like, who do the Steelers hate the most?
Ravens, Browns, Bengals.
All right, so yeah, you're a Bengals fan tonight. That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us. Bryce under center. Chuba's the deep back. Snap. Give it to Chuba. Chuba inside the 10. 5. Slides into the end zone. Touchdown Panthers. He spikes the ball, and Carolina's got a lead.
Chuba Hubbard is paid. As of earlier today, it is a 4-year extension, a little over $33 million in total value, 15 of that guaranteed. That is a great day for a former 4th-round pick. First of all, Chuba Hubbard, very good player. I hate that I have to do that qualifier. If you've listened to the show for the last however many months, you should know I'm a big Chuba Hubbard fan. Matter of fact, and this kind of shows the bona fides. If you go to the video that the Panthers produced, the Panthers team put out a video announcing the Chuba Hubbard contract extension. It's just a little 1-minute hype video. You see our show. I'm talking about Chuba Hubbard being a dog and being what Dan Morgan wants. So I am a fan of Chuba Hubbard. I think the contract is a little rich, and by a little, I kind of mean a lot rich. And I think the execution of the last 6 months in your running back room, building your roster, doesn't add up to me. If you thought this highly of Chuba, or you thought you might think this highly of Chuba, how in the world do you draft Jonathan Brooks? Because now you've spent a second-round pick and a whole bunch of money on a position that every other team in the league, aside from the elite contenders, have shied away from spending a bunch of money on. And the only reason the elite contenders can spend money on the running back is because they have so much of the rest of their roster figured out. Here's the problem I have with it. The NFL is a salary-capped sport. If this were baseball, and you could just spend, and you were the Dodgers or the Yankees, go nuts. Spend all the money in the world. But it's not. It's a salary-capped sport. And I know people joke that the salary cap doesn't exist. It does. Ask the Saints. They're in a bunch of trouble coming up here. And every dollar you spend on one team or one position is a dollar you don't spend on another position. So I hear you when you say, and Stu found my email, somebody on Twitter, Dennis has hinted this. I hear you when you say the Panthers have money to spend. Because if you look at what do they have, $40-something million under the cap for next year? I think it's 41 is the most recent estimate.
43.
43 is the most recent estimate. Here's the issue I have. Yes, you have $43 million. If you want to give 10 of that or 8 of that in the cap to a running back, fantastic. Lovely, right? The issue is that money should be earmarked for a bunch of other stuff, right? That's like somebody in the real world. I'm just going to use a very round number. Say you get $1,000 a paycheck. I don't care what that adds up to. Say you go to work every day, you're 9 to 5, and you get $1,000 a paycheck. You don't spend like, hey, this pay period, I have $1,000 to spend. So let's go crazy and drop $200 at the club. You don't do that. Why? Because you don't actually have $1,000 to spend. You get $1,000, but you might have $400 rent. You might have $200 for food. You might have $100 for, I don't know, cable and cell phone. So then you add it all up and you're like, all right, I got $300. That's what I'm looking at for the Panthers. They got $43 million estimate right now and probably pathways with cutting players and moving on from guys to get to maybe 70 or 80. Right? I'll give you that. They don't have $70 or $80 million that they're looking for ways to spend. They need a corner. They need probably 2 or 3 edge rushers. They need, depending on what happens with Taylor Moton, and you might move on from him to save some cap space, you might need a tackle. You need safeties. These are not cheap. Don't spend as if you don't have rent to cover. You know what I mean? You got to bookmark some stuff. If you're a team where you have $40 million to spend and you're making it to the NFC Championship game and you have great players lined up and most of them are on long-term or rookie deals, then yeah, all right, we got $60 million. Let's go see what we can spend it on. But if you got $70 million to spend and you've got $60 million in needs, you only got $10 million to go splurge. And make no mistake about it, I would say one really good running back is not a splurge. That's like, hey, you need somebody that can tote the rock. 2 really good running backs, that's a luxury, right? If I have, like, look at running backs like cars. How about that? If you're living in a one-person household, you need to have a car, right? Got to get to work, got to get to the store, got to get around. 2, that's a luxury, right? You want one. If you can afford it, great. Right, the Lions are up there with like a giant lifted Ford F-350, David Montgomery, and a little Maserati, something sporty, like a Jahmyr Gibbs. You can afford it, yeah, go for it. But if like Chuba Hubbard is a great car, he's a Volvo, right? He's something safe, dependable. You know, he's not going to need a lot of maintenance. I don't know anyone that's like, I need 2 Volvos. Like, you got one. That's kind of what you're rocking with. I don't get the duplication in the running back room for the Panthers. And if you were going to build around Chuba, that's fine. Don't draft Jonathan Brooks. I'm sure I could go find somebody drafted in the 2nd round after Jonathan Brooks that the Panthers could use. I'm sure. I'm positive of it because they got a lot of needs. That's number 2. Let's jump to number 1.
Kaniemi, he's got real estate, lets the shot go. Save pulls up, rebound, Natchez, he scores! Marty Natchez is beyond hot. seconds. The second star of the week puts Carolina 5-4.
Canes play tonight against Pittsburgh. Second time this year.
At Club Lenovo. Hockey night in Carolina, baby.
Which you can hear right here on 99.9 The Fan.
Yes, you
I'll
can.
Get that one right. Before the game, Stormwatch, Adam Gold, right here, 99.9 The Fan. That's me doing my job better than I was doing it earlier. I'm giving this kind of a and I kind of like that the schedule worked this way. Tuesday to Thursday, the Canes have a chance to answer some of the questions that were brought about by a sloppy win on Tuesday. Pyotr Kochetkov didn't play great on Tuesday. They're putting him back on the ice on Thursday. I thought maybe they would go to Spencer Martin and give Pyotr Kochetkov the break in goal, but I think after Tuesday, you're going, no, let's throw him back out there. Let's get him back on the horse. Let's not let him stew on a rough performance and have him show everybody that he's better than that. Put him out there against the Penguins.
He also didn't get a massive workload.
Yeah.
He only had 16 shots faced on Tuesday.
And he didn't even stop him. But on top of that, I think there's, I'm looking for killer instinct from the Canes, right? You get ahead 3-1, slam the door. You get ahead, you get an opportunity against an overmatched opponent to go dominate. And I think they didn't do that as well as I would have liked against Philly. Pittsburgh's a little better, but they're not a juggernaut, right? They're not somebody who you're thinking we got to play our A-plus game to beat. They're somebody who you're looking at going, all right, they're I have these stats here for you. Philly is third worst in the NHL in goals allowed per game. They allow the third most goals. That's part of the reason I was asking the Canes to put them away. Pittsburgh is fourth worst in the NHL in goals allowed per game. So they're better, but just a little bit. Philly is seventh worst in the NHL in goals scored per game. Pittsburgh is better. They're 15th. They're not a juggernaut there, but they're middle of the pack in goals scored.
There's still that Crosby guy.
Yeah, and you should
still
know
that Crosby
you should know
guy.
where he is on the ice.
Oh,
You should just pay attention. Pittsburgh has a better special teams, or at least better power play, but Philly had the better PK. So there's this is another opportunity. I'm asking you for the same thing I was asking for you on Tuesday, and going I'm a director right now going, all right, great, we got the first take. Let's run it back, see if you can't do a little better. Don't play with your food, step on their throat when you get the chance. I want the Canes, and it should be this way because they're so darn good on the blue line, and the system is so darn good at preventing goals. A 2-goal lead should feel like a 10-goal lead for the Canes. And a 2-goal lead was gone in the snap of a fingers on Tuesday. What you like is that they got the 2-goal lead right back in less than a minute at the end of the game, so they can flip it both ways. But I don't want to need that. So tonight against Pittsburgh, let's just run it back. Let's see what you can do against another team that's given up a bunch of goals and another team that, at least statistically through the first month of the season, roughly, it has not been on your level. And yes, to echo what Dennis was saying, there is that Crosby guy over there. So it's not exactly the same as Philly. I'm not painting them as identical. But I think it's another opportunity for the Canes to show a little bit of bloodthirst. Right? When you smell blood in the water, go in for the kill, obviously talking metaphorically. And that part of that's the goalie. Right? Slam the door. You get a 2-goal lead, it should feel like 10. And that's how every goalie should think. Give me a 2-goal lead, game over. Now I get to do my thing. I want to see that from Pyotr Kochetkov. And everyone at the blue line as well, not just him, but team sport. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we grab our numbers game contestants, and I'm looking forward to the numbers game, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. What if you could be debt-free by this January? Now, I'm talking about all that high-interest debt. Pay off all your credit cards, car loans, consolidate everything into one lower payment. If you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to give Loan Pronto a call right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low 5s, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this with Loan Pronto save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis or their Express Equity lines of credit. So call now. Get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today and you won't make a house payment till 2025. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. Free rate quote now, 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, needs numbers game contestants. Today, the prize is a $25 gift card to Emilio's Italian restaurant, 60 years of tradition and family recipes. We need 2 contestants, so call in right now, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Heister Automotive Group hotline to play the numbers game. Call in now, because the numbers game is next.
Move your sports day forward.
The Canes need to change their season slogan from Raise Up to Sup. After that terrible opener, they hit the road and come back a brand new team. Marty Necas, practically an early season MVP candidate. And everyone's afraid of the Ghost. Shane Gostisbehere's power play snipes. Yeah, Ghost, we see ya.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Lowe's honors our military community this Veterans Day and every day. To say thank you, verified military members, veterans, and their spouses get 10% off everyday purchases, plus free silver key status with My Lowe's Rewards. It's our way of showing our gratitude to the brave people who have and continue to serve our country. Learn more now at lowes.com/military. 10% discount can't be combined with another offer. Exclusions, terms, and conditions apply. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
'Tis the season for family and friends. 'Tis the season for gifting. And 'tis the season for making holiday dreams come true. 'Tis the season for using the old-timey contraction 'tis. And 'tis the time of year for holiday scratch-offs. With over $85 million in total prizes, 'tis the best gift of all.
'Tis the season to gift endless joy with holiday scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.06 to 9.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. When sending a package, why venture outside? Ship with USPS for a true holiday ride. Want to stay cozy and warm? There's no need to roam. With free package pickup and labels printed from home. We have over 600,000 employees always in motion. And before you know it, your gift has delivered in motion. Spread the holiday joy this season with USPS's Enhanced Network. Learn more at USPS.com/holiday ride.
Caesars Sportsbook is the only sportsbook app with Caesars rewards. Win or lose, every bet you place brings you closer to perks only Caesars can offer. Hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using the promo code Radio1000 and you'll place your first bet today. If you win, great. If not, you'll get it back as a bonus bet up to $1,000. Must be 21 plus and physically present in North Carolina. New users only must register using eligible promo code. First bet after registration must qualify. Max bonus bet $1,000. Bonus bet expires 14 days after receipt. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full items. Tribal Casino Gaming Enterprise is a licensed operator by the North Carolina State Lottery Commission. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. I live and work on both coasts, travel the country, and there's nothing better than Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet and half-price appetizers Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6. Visit all 5 Triangle locations and ask for their great daily beer specials. And how about this special? Every Sunday, they have $6 Bloody Marys and $6.50 Jamesons. Dine in, carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. On the line, looking to compete, we have 2 contestants, Andrew in Durham and Dustin in Apex. And on the line today, meaning on the prize, or for our prize, is a $25 gift card to Emilio's Italian restaurant. As always, we have to ask a question, pick our favorite answer to see who gets to go first. Dennis is the judge. The question, we'll start with Andrew in Durham. The question is inspired by our conversation yesterday with Matt and Jeff Hardy, the legendary tag team pro wrestlers, and the fact that we gave away a bunch of TNA tickets earlier today. Andrew in Durham, who is your all-time favorite pro wrestler, and what is the reasoning for it?
I loved Sting when I was growing up. I don't know. It was just kind of the face paint and everything he had. Kind of liked his whole thing.
You're getting a nod from Dennis, so he is considering your answer.
Okay, we're talking Hollywood Sting, or are we talking Crow Sting? Or both?
I don't know. Mid-'90s WCW Sting. Not sure.
Okay.
All right, there you go. We'll go to Dustin in Apex. Dustin, same question to you. Who is your all-time favorite pro wrestler and why?
Gonna be Ric Flair, baby. Walk that island style. Woo!
There are the options. Dennis, your choice is.
We got a Ric Flair woo. I mean, Ric Flair, North Carolina.
No.
I got to go Dustin in this one, Ric Flair.
All right.
Sting, also a great answer, though.
Good choice. Okay. Andrew, you stay on the line. You'll have your chance. In the meantime, going up first will be Dustin in Apex. Dustin, are you ready to pick a category?
I am.
All right. These are the categories that you get to choose from. NFL, apostrophes, all players with an apostrophe in their name. NFL, 11th letter of the alphabet, all players whose last name begins with the 11th letter of the alphabet. Baseball players from the 2024 Dodgers and Yankees only, or NHL Hurricanes only?
Let's go with NFL, 11th letter. 11th letter.
All right. These are all NFL players whose last name begins with the 11th letter of the alphabet. I will give you the team and the player. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There will be 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Travis Kelce, Kansas City Chiefs.
87.
Correct. Cole Kmet, Chicago Bears.
89.
Incorrect. Dalton Kincaid, Buffalo Bills.
81.
Incorrect. Cole Kmet, Chicago Bears.
83.
Incorrect. Dalton Kincaid, Buffalo Bills.
Pass.
Tucker Kraft, Green Bay Packers.
84.
Incorrect. Cole Kmet, Chicago Bears.
82.
Incorrect. Dalton Kincaid, Buffalo Bills. I didn't realize how many tight ends have their last name that starts with K until I started reading this.
Clearly all of them.
You got Travis Kelce with 87. Kmet, for those of you playing at home, number 85. Kincaid, number 86. And Kraft, number 85. You were all in the 80s the whole time, and it's almost difficult to miss in the ways you did. But you did get one. So you're in the mix. Stay on the line. We'll see if it holds up. That brings us to Andrew in Durham. Andrew, are you there?
Yes.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL, players with apostrophes in their name, baseball, 2024 Dodgers and Yankees only, or NHL Hurricanes only.
I'll go NHL Hurricanes.
All right. The way this works, I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number. I will say the team in this category, even though we know it, just to keep it fair with the other contestant timing-wise. You have 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. You need at least two for the win. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Jackson Blake, Carolina Hurricanes.
53.
Correct. Stephen Nason, Carolina Hurricanes.
23.
Correct. Tim Gleason, Carolina Hurricanes.
6.
Correct. Derek Ryan, Carolina Hurricanes.
16.
Incorrect. Trevor Van Riemsdyk, Carolina Hurricanes.
41.
Incorrect. Derek Ryan, Carolina Hurricanes.
21.
Incorrect. Trevor Van Riemsdyk, Carolina Hurricanes. You got the win. That was one of the faster times through three names that we've gotten. But Derek Ryan and Trevor Van Riemsdyk really threw the brakes on. Ryan, we would have accepted 7 or 33. Van Riemsdyk, 57 was the number we were looking for.
Okay.
For those of you playing at home, there was a bunch of duplicates. Tim Gleason, we would have accepted 6, 8, or 42. He wore all three. And Stephen Nason, 23 or 29 were acceptable answers. But Andrew in Durham, 3 is plenty for the win. Congratulations. You win the $25 Emilio's gift card. All right, don't let all your emotions out at once. Go ahead and stay on the line, and Dennis has some info he needs to get from you in order to make sure you get your prize. Even his answers, he was just a little monotone, locked in. Everybody has their own style.
All in on business.
Stand on business. It's a $25 gift card to Emilio's Italian Restaurant, 60 years of tradition and family recipes. We will once again have a $25 gift card to Emilio's tomorrow, right about this same time. So if you haven't won in the last 30 days and you want to play the numbers game for an Emilio's gift card, be ready, have your dialing fingers ready tomorrow at about 5:30. I'm going to try to keep everybody updated on what we have around here. There's a bunch of college sports going on right here on 99.9 The Fan. You will hear the Carolina Hurricanes game. I may have had that a little off earlier today. I got confused with Thursday Night Football. But you will hear the Canes right here on 99.9 The Fan, and that means you will hear Adam Gold on Stormwatch the half hour prior. So all of that is happening. It is a home game for the Canes. They are playing Pittsburgh. They're riding a 7-game win streak. 99.9 The Fan, the place for it. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. Look forward to the interactions that take place there. And we hope you join the online community that we're building around this show and around all of the content put out by 99.9 The Fan.
By the way, speaking of YouTube, in our YouTube live chat, a lot of people have been sending in their first goal scores for today's game. All right, so we've actually had, for example, Clint earlier today said Chatfield, first period from the blue line. We also had Travis say Burns gets his first of the year in the first period. Also, Lexi and Tofu said Jacob Slavin, first period as well. So we've had 4 people. We had someone message you saying Shane Gostisbehere on the power play in the first period. So we've had 4 people give 4 different blue liners.
I want to give the appropriate accreditation there. It is Mayor at M_T_B 1972 says Shane Gostisbehere in the first period, and for a little extra detail says power play.
I like it.
Shane Gostisbehere. Matter of fact, we're gonna talk a little bit about the impact. Like, I think I give Gostisbehere a little too much credit for one of the things happening with the Canes, but I like the way the guy started the season, and as a reacquisition, he's a good player. So I hope that the caller is maybe almost right. Like yesterday or last game, I picked Martinook to be the first goal scorer.
Yeah,
I was almost right. He scored the third goal,
sure.
but it was still his first goal of the season. So I'm taking like a half credit for it. I don't know if that's how it works, but I'm doing it anyway. I hope the person that tweeted at me gets a half credit. I hope I'm right, but I hope they get the half credit for the goal from Gostisbehere later in the game.
I did Burns in the first.
I have Natchez in the first.
Yep.
Which seems like the chalky answer, but I think I'm the only one that said it so far.
You are.
So I'll take Main Street. You guys all want to go down side streets? I'll be going right down the highway, hopefully to goal-scoring Central.
I know we've said all these defensive. Watch, it's going to be Sean Walker tonight. Gets the first goal for the Canes.
Orlov, who also hasn't been chosen.
I know, who's been on a heater lately.
Fire away. 7 points for Orlov, the most he's had in the first 11 games of any season of his career, and he's been around a while. So getting productive. With that being said, we're going to hit some Hurricanes and cons when we come back. What are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes through the first 11 games of their season? A lot to be confident about, but there's at least a few things you want to make sure they shore up. Hurricanes and cons coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Natchez heads up. Back to Orlov. He scores! A 1-2 punch from Dmitry Orlov. It's 3-2 on Orlov, second of the game.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Now back to Slavin. He shot right on. Rebounds out in front. Chance out front. They score! Here come the Hats!
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Is your heating and air system ready for cooler weather? Call Newcomb & Company today to schedule a routine maintenance and ensure your system is operating at peak performance. Become a Comfort Contract customer to receive priority service and a 15% discount on service calls and repairs for HVAC and plumbing work. Newcomb & Company has served the area as a Carrier Factory authorized dealer for more than 3 generations. Turn to the experts today. Call 919-862-3000 or find us at newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company and Carrier, your Your comfort is our business.
It's Tim Donnelly for Window Nation. Right now, save 50% off all window styles, plus 0 interest for 5 years. Hurry, sale ends November 30th, so schedule an in-home estimate at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending in Cary. Now that the Fed has finally begun their path of rate cuts, trying to decide when to finance becomes very challenging. Do I lock now? Do I wait? At Miller Lending, we offer a solution to the question of timing with our popular no closing cost program. With no fees charged or added to your loan amount, you simply close on today's rates free of charge and refinance any time rates fall. Having done our first no-cost loan all the way back in 1987, we've now funded over $10 billion in no-cost mortgages, saving our customers thousands of dollars in needless fees. Lately, we've seen a trend of even higher closing costs as borrowers chase rates only to see them drop considerably 4 months later. So whether you're purchasing a new home or simply refinancing the home you're in, why not call Miller Lending and say goodbye to closing costs forever? 919-447-3377 or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
Experience our Raleigh tradition. Head to Amedio's Italian Restaurant, a family favorite for over 60 years. From weekly specials to their famous homemade recipes, Amedio's uses only the freshest ingredients. Need a touchdown for your tailgate? Amedio's offers delicious takeout, perfect for cheering on the Wolfpack. Or they can host your private party. Amedio's even caters. Amedio's Italian Restaurant, Raleigh's Taste of Italy since 1963. Visit amediosrestaurant.com for details.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
To Slavin. Slavin trapping out in front. They score! Jordan Martinook! Net front to back of the net. And in a blink, it's 3-1 Carolina.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As I said before the break, you can hear Hurricanes hockey right here on 99.9 The Fan as they take on Pittsburgh tonight after a wildly exciting, all-over-the-place win against Philly on Tuesday. I think everybody's hoping for a little more textbook open and shut win against Pittsburgh tonight before a 3-game road swing. That starts, I believe, on Saturday. So rounding out a 4-game home streak with a win would be, or homestand would be nice.
Yeah, at Colorado on Saturday. On Monday, they're in Vegas. That's another Canes After Dark for you. Then, if I remember correctly, after that, they have one more on the road in Utah.
Yep,
first trip to Utah for the franchise.
So the Colorado and Utah games are going to be 9 o'clock puck drops, and Vegas is at 10.
Ugh.
So we're back on that move.
I'm already tired.
Tonight, though, it's a 7 o'clock puck drop, so normal time when they play at home.
I like normal.
And that means Storm Watch with Adam Gold will be at 6:30. Right now, talking Canes, let's jump into a little Hurricanes and Cons. What are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes leading into the game tonight? Dennis, I'm gonna let you lead off here. I led off with the Panthers earlier today when we did a Cons and Cons. For a Hurricanes and Cons, let's switch it up. What are you most concerned about?
My concern is complacency.
Ooh,
I think it's human.
Similar to mine.
I think it's human nature when you're successful. It's like, okay, just keep doing the same thing, and it's like, okay, well, I'm just doing the same thing. But then you're not quite as urgent as you were when you're trying to chase. Trying to all right, hey, let's chase that first win, or get that second one. Let's get the third one in a row. Sometimes when you get 6, 7, 8 wins in a row, it's a lot easier sometimes to let things get a little cute or try to be a little too cute at times. We actually saw that on Tuesday.
Yes.
They tried to be a little cute. And guess what?
Yes.
It almost bit you right in the tail. You had to score with 29.4 seconds left. So I think that sometimes can happen. I think it's just human nature that just sets in naturally. Sometimes it actually does take a loss to kind of reset you.
My concern, and it's a little different than the way I described it earlier, it's killer instinct, but it's also, I'm going to call it crazy instinct. Who's the crazy guy on the Canes?
Jarvis?
That's a different kind of crazy.
Oh.
That's funny. Name someone on the Canes that you would love to have on your team, but would hate if they were on the other team.
Because they annoy you?
Because they're annoying, they're pesty, they maybe play to the echo of the whistle rather than the whistle. Hockey is a physical sport. You need a few, who throws the extra punch after the knockout? You know what I mean? Not fully dirty. You don't need to go ahead and have somebody that's going to get charged with assault. But you need somebody that when the game feels like it could be over, if you get one more big hit, is somebody say big hit, is already throwing their leg over the wall coming into the game. The Canes are wildly skilled, and we've talked about it. Their skating, just the speed and talent of it last year to this year, they've gotten better. The new additions brought a certain amount of extra spark, and they were already sparky. The Ahos, the Jarvises, they have the skill. Who's the crazy one?
I know our guy Micah would tell you it'd be Brendan Lemieux. He's being disrespected. But you know what? Brendan Lemieux does have that little bit of an edge to him.
He has some of it. I don't know if he would be enough to answer the whole question.
Sure.
But he might get partial credit. I'm worried if that isn't there. Someone has it inside. I know somebody's got it in their core. They just got to let their crazy flag fly a little bit. And I'm a little concerned that we haven't seen it yet.
I think William Carrier can play that heavy style of game, and he's a bigger body guy too.
He throws his body around.
He does, and I think that he might be a little bit of that guy. Jalen Chatfield's also not afraid to mix it up a little bit too.
I agree with that as well. Did you see him fall during his little?
Yeah, I talked to him after the game. He's like,
For those
yeah.
of you that didn't see it, he does the little ice spray thing when he's gumming off the ice. I don't know if he caught a toe or something, but he basically was going real fast trying to snow cone. And ended up just sliding into the wall.
So I talked to him, and I talked to a couple other players after the game in the locker room on Tuesday, and a lot of them were actually saying how the ice was really soft, so almost like you were sinking into the ice. So when you come to a stop, you're as opposed to scraping, you're actually kind of digging in a little bit more, and that's why he wasn't able to. That's where he lost his edge.
It's
a lot of guys. They said they were having trouble handling the puck. They're like, yeah, the ice was pretty rough.
That explanation changes things for me. I thought because he does it every game, that little spray deal. I always thought it was just cool. I thought he was just I'm going to swag out for a second.
Yeah.
If that's the case, where he actually learned something about the ice, maybe there's more to it. Maybe I was just giving him too much cool points.
Yeah, but he does that every game. But, yeah, a lot of the players were saying, the ice was really soft. That's why you saw a lot of bad puck handling. That's why you saw for both teams, Philadelphia and Carolina, both teams had dudes just falling down at random times because you try to go for a turn and you're actually sinking in more, and it throws your edge off and everything. But I understand.
As far as, the tough guy bona fides for him, he is. He's not afraid to throw his body around. But it is really hard to look tough after that. If that game – because he did stand up and he just kind of waved to the crowd I'm okay. It's kind of hard to look tough after that happens. That's concerns for Hurricanes and Cons. What are you most confident in when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes? Dennis, as leadoff, you're up.
They're scoring throughout the lineup. The depth of scoring. This was actually a massive concern going into the year. It's outside of the top guys, where's the scoring going to come from? You're actually getting contributions from everywhere across your lineup. Jackson Blake has 4 goals. He's been playing down on the 4th line. Jack Drury's been chipping in a few points recently. We've seen Martin Nook score. We've also seen Seth Jarvis score, and we saw Jordan Stahl score in the season opener as well. You're getting contributions from that line as well. The line with Nate Robinson and Kokiniemi, Natchez and all that, it speaks for itself. But even Jesperi Kokiniemi has been putting in a lot of assists as well. And obviously Svech, Aho, and Jack Roslovic, they've been scoring like crazy as well. I mean, Roslovic has 7 goals this season. You're getting balanced scoring throughout the lineup, and you're also seeing some blue liners start to chip in as well. Imagine when Sean Walker has a few more games under his belt and is fully adjusted to this system, what more he's going to be able to do. You know that Brent Burns is starting to chip in more offensively. Eventually the puck's going to find the way, and it's back in the net for him as well as Chatfield. The depth of scoring throughout the lineup, it was a massive concern. Now I'm like, yeah, now you're getting contributions from everywhere.
My confidence, I think, might be one of the causes. My confidence is selfishness. I think selfishness is like fats. You know how there's bad fats and good fats?
Go on.
The Canes have like the avocado fats of selfishness. Avocado selfishness. It's actually, you need some. It's good. You need some
put that
fats.
on T-shirt. Avocado selfishness.
Yeah, and we'll add it to our dictionary of theories. But since Rod Brind'Amour has taken over the Canes, they've been no lower than 3rd in shots on goal per game. This year, they've taken it to even yet another level. 35.8 shots on goal per game is almost 2 more shots on goal per game than they've had in any other year under Brind'Amour, and obviously the years prior. They let it fly. They are not precious. They see a good shot, they let it fly this year, which I really appreciate. And I give the credit, as I said earlier, I like giving it to Gostisbehere. Gostisbehere showed up this year, and from the opening jump was like, if I see a shot, I'm ripping. And it seems to have kind of matriculated around the blue line, and then it's going from the blue line on up. Guys who maybe aren't notorious scorers are not deferring. They're not going like, well, I'm not the scorer guy, so let me feed him. They're going like, no, I might not be the scorer guy, but a good shot from me helps the team, gets you things like rebound goals, gets you things like putting pressure and not letting the opposing team's defense catch their breath, making the goalie work. Sometimes it's just give the goalie a chance to make a mistake. Like put the shot on goal, and if he wants to give up a softie, great. 35.8 shots on goal per game is looking historically, looking around the league, and looking at the Canes' history. It's a lot. And I really like that from this team. And who knows if that average will stay that high throughout an entire season. But I like that there's selfishness, seemingly the good kind, at every level of this Canes team right now, which gives them the opportunity to score more goals and maybe not be exactly the same as some of the traditional Canes teams under Brind'Amour. So, avocado selfishness is my confidence for the Carolina Hurricanes. And I think every team at every sport needs a little bit of selfishness. Right? There's like the Hoosiers rule. All right, everybody's got to make whatever it is, 4 passes before you shoot. Some teams need the opposite. Like, hey, if we pass it 7 times, whoever catches it's got to let it fly. Like sometimes you got to force the action that way as well. So go ahead and give me the Canes' aggressiveness and selfishness as a confidence.
We saw it last game. Because when you're playing against Philadelphia or a team coached by John Tortorella, they block a ton of shots, so they kind of pack things in a little bit. So you're not going to be able to get a lot of pretty goals. Yeah, they scored 1 off the rush, but of the other 5 goals, I'm not going to count the empty netter. But of the other 4 that they scored, like 1 off the rush and an empty netter, but the other 4 they scored were all guys directly in front of the net. And it was skill guys that were doing it too. Like Jackson Blake is a highly skilled player. He's got a little bit of that grit to him as well, but it's right there in front of the net. Martin Natchez, who's known as a skill guy, crashing the net on a rebound. Jordan Martinook just putting in work. Yeah, Jordan Martinook putting in work and scoring in front of the net as well.
It is more on brand for Martinook than some of the other guys.
Well, I mean, the dude literally killed a penalty himself.
But still, I like it. I like a lot of it. It was easy to find a confidence for the Canes. A little more difficult to find some concerns.
Remember when we were concerned, like people were asking, is this a playoff team?
We weren't asking.
I know we weren't, but there are a lot of people like, is this a playoff team? Like,
we were answering that.
Like, I think we know the answer.
They are. Well, hey, still early. Still early. Don't count your chickens. But I like where their head's at. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Chuba Hubbard, running back, Panthers. now, according to average annual value, is the 9th on his new contract, will be the 9th highest paid running back in the NFL as of earlier today. 4-year, $33+ million extension. We reacted to it earlier today. That's going to lead off Overdrive. After Overdrive, you'll have Adam Golden Stormwatch, and then Puck Drop for the Canes and the Penguins right here on 99.9 The Fan, so do not touch that dial. We'll see you tomorrow with 3. Until then, have a wonderful night, everybody. Enjoy a couple lyrics from Katy Perry on the way out. Pack Therapy is in session thanks to First Horizon Bank. It's Tim Donnelly from 99.9 The Fan alongside legendary Wolfpack play caller Mike Glennon.
Every episode of Pack Therapy is your chance to get dialed in with inside information on your team.
We'll set you up for every Wolfpack game all season long.
And we'll break down every contest, what went right and what could have worked better.
Plus, special guests to keep Wolfpack hope alive.
Follow and subscribe to Pack Therapy wherever